Hey friends, my name is Calyx and welcome back to my channel and I'm doing a Reddit video. I have no idea when this is going up. I don't think I can post it today. Um, I don't think I can post it today because it's already 6 o'clock and I have no idea when I have no idea when my mom's going to be home. She's gonna be home. I don't know. She's said she's like stuck or not stuck. She has a thing at work. She has a thing at work. Um, yeah, she has a thing at work. So, she's gonna be home. I don't know when, but yeah, I don't know when that's happening. But I got some videos or some stories to read today, and I got some stories to read today. This might have to go up tomorrow. Ugh, ugh, ugh. This might have to go up tomorrow or um another time. This might have to this might have to go up either tomorrow or next week. It's already 6 o'clock and I want this video to be several hours long. So sorry, I'm kind of looking for something a little bit specific, but I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Oh, you know what? We're starting with this one. I, a 25 female, bullied my sister's 22 new boyfriend, a 22 female. The sister is 22 female, new boyfriend, 25 male, back in school. Back in school. I messaged him apologizing for what I'd done and to clear the air. He said no, and now my sister has turned against me. What can I do? Uh, okay. This one is marked as concluded. I feel like I have to add that. Most of the time I forget to add that, but I'm adding it today because I remembered. I'm not the OOP, the OOP is this person. And um they're never the OOP when it's on Best of Redditor updates. The whole point is that it's taken from different accounts and different places, and like the original account can't post it to Best of Redditor updates because I guess bias or something. So trigger warnings are bullying, physical violence, and assault, childhood trauma. Original post is October 2nd, 2016, so like a decade ago. Editor's note: the place this post was preserved was a wall of text. And this person made it into paragraphs for easier reading. I'll start this with I was a dick as a teenager. I'm from the UK, and from the ages of around 14 to 16, I hung around in a quote unquote gang. I don't know what. Uh, uh, I don't know what that's supposed to mean. I feel like it's not actually a gang. Anyway. I did it because I was popular. I would get invited to parties. Girls would like me. Whatever other reason a teenage kid would hang out in a gang, basically. Okay, this time it's not in quotes, so I have no idea. We were basically a group of jerks to certain people. I don't think we were worse to anyone more than Stuart, though, which is my sister's new boyfriend. We were horrible to him, and we were typical school bullies to the guy. Once I turned 18 and got away from all the bad influences who I'd been told for years were holding me down and realized I had been a dick and most of the others in the gang were too. I still speak to a couple of people, but most of them were cut off, and quite frankly, I'm embarrassed of my actions when I was younger. My sister Jane went to a different school, as by that point she and my parents had seen that my school wasn't exactly the best, considering the crowd I got mixed up in. Then why'd they let you still go to it? Why didn't they pull you out of that school and put you in a different school? Whatever. I don't know if Stuart knew I had a sister or not, in all honesty. I have recently moved back to my hometown and met up with my sister for a drink. She told me about her new boyfriend, and I told her when she mentioned his name, the truth, that I was a dick to him. So if she's dating him, I'll apologize because I feel bad for my actions. She agreed and told me just to message him on Facebook and he'll be fine. So I did as she said and wrote a very long message about how I'm happy for him and my sister, how I am very sorry for what I did in the past, explain that I know I'll never know how I made him feel, but I'm genuine here and don't want any issues with him. He replied, saying that I'm a dick. Stop it. He replied saying that I'm a dick, doesn't accept my apologies, and blocks me. I thought, fair enough, I tried. I'll try again at a later date when he might be more open to the idea, because I get it, he doesn't trust me. To him, I'm the dick who bullied him for years. Wait, how are you going to try again if he blocked you on whatever? My sister phoned me not long after and started shouting at how horrible I was as a teenager and that she'll never forgive me for what I did to her boyfriend. She listed some things off that he told her. Some of them I admitted to doing slash being there when it happened. Some of them I didn't do, but I had heard about them, and some accusations I'd never had anything to do with or ever heard of them happening. I feel for Stuart and want to sort this out with them for not only feeling bad for doing it, but also to save my relationship with my sister. Too long didn't read bullied a guy in school when I thought it was cool. I've since grown up and cut out all the bad influences in my life. My sister was dating a guy me and my friends used to bully. I tried to apologize, but he didn't accept it, and now my sister hates me. I need help in how to sort this out. Relevant comments. Someone says, a true apology doesn't come via text or Facebook. It's a face to face apology, taking blame and truly being sorry for it. And Opie replies to that, I offered to meet up with him to say it face to face. Someone else says, if a police officer had seen some of the things you did to Stewart, would you have ended up being arrested? If the answer is yes, then I don't see why he ever has to forgive you. And OOP replies, not me personally, no. My friendship group, maybe, aka stuff I wasn't involved in. Someone else says, because I get it, he doesn't trust me. To him, I'm the dick who bullied him for years. I don't think it's just that though. You probably did this on a daily basis to this guy for years, and you won't even mention the things you did. He's probably still messed up from it. You did the right thing apologizing, but only you did it because your sister started dating him. That comes across funny to me if I was Stuart. You made the gesture of apologizing, but just now give him space. Okay, I'm not sure. I don't think she meant funny like haha. She probably meant funny like, weird. And then the OOP replies to that, yeah, I won't mention the things I did for anonymity. It's pretty detailed without me mentioning specific details because then someone could see it. I know my sister uses Reddit and could cause even more problems. Yeah, I complete. And then he quotes the part about how you did the right thing only because the sister started dating him. And he says, yeah, I completely get his point with that. However, honestly, I couldn't remember how bad we were to him till she brought it up. I tried to block a lot of things out from my childhood, to be honest. And then OP says the reason he blocked it out is because I blocked out a lot because I had a hard home life at the time. Okay, yeah, it doesn't make it okay. There was an update October 5th, 2016, which is 3 days after the original post. I have to repost this once again since the link wasn't in the original update posts. I can't see my original update post anymore, so this will be basically the same thing, but wrote out differently. People were asking what me and my friends did to Stuart at school, so here's some examples of what I did personally to him. Put items in the local newspaper for sale with his mobile number as the contact number, ordered numerous takeaway deliveries to his house, named him after a farm animal, told the girl he was crushing on all the stuff he had wrote about her in his notebook. That also means that he has to have read the notebook, which I assume was private at the time. I never did anything physically to him because at the time I was being physically assaulted by my mother's boyfriend. at the time. This is why I started training in boxing and started lifting weights at around this age to become bigger and stronger to stand up for myself. I always said that I wouldn't harm anyone physically. My friend tied him to a post, stole things, hit him, etc., and I refused to take part in them as I saw it as too far, but at the same time, I didn't realize the mental aspects of bullying were just as bad, if not worse. On to the update. I saw Stuart in a local pub last night that I went to with my friends. He originally didn't say anything, and I decided to give him some space because I was advised in the original to leave him alone. When he started getting more drunk, he started making more comments, obviously intended to be heard by me. We both smoked and we were both outside when he started berating me for my fake apology. I told him it wasn't fake, I meant it, that I have changed as a person, and that was me as a 15-year-old kid who thought he was cool. The 25-year-old me is embarrassed by that. He said he didn't believe me and would love to deck me right there and then. I told him if he wants to hit me, do it. I'd probably deserve it. At this point, I'm outnumbered 3-1 as my two friends are still inside. Stuart hits me, the other two surround me, and even though I'm a big guy who is a trained fighter, it doesn't take a genius to work out that three guys versus one usually doesn't work out well for the one. Luckily, my friends had heard the noise and got involved to break it up before I got any serious damage done to me. The pub owners then told us to leave or they'd be involving the police, so we waited until they left and went out the back way to my friend's house. My sister phoned me whilst I was there telling me that Stuart had said that I had tried to start a fight with him and he put me in my place. I told her no. Stuart tried to start a fight with me. I told him if hitting me would help things, do it. I get hit every week in practice. I'm used to it. My friends told her the story of what actually happened, and she wasn't happy. She phoned me again today, now yesterday in the UK, and told me Stuart admitted what had happened and how he wanted him and his friends to hospitalize me. She dumped him because she was scared for mine and her safety. My message that I included in the last post at the end caused some controversy, but I'll repeat it. If you were a teenager who's bullying another kid for whatever reason, to look cool, to make yourself feel better, or whatever else, please stop. You could be partially the reason someone's life could change for the worse. I don't know if Stuart had other problems, but the bullying we did seems to have affected him a lot more than I thought, and I hope I never make anyone feel like that again. Final comments are from someone says, "I don't think you can blame yourself for for the breakup, even for the events 10 years ago. They chose to use physical violence. You didn't." And OP responds, "He must have a lot of pent-up anger, and I'm partially the reason for that. I hope he gets help for his issues and wish I could help. But to him, I'm just the guy who bullied him." And this is a repost sub. Okay, it's done. Like it's over. That's the post. So, and someone in the comments says, "I like these old best of Redditor updates. Way better than the more recent ones because you can better trust them to be true stories. I feel like they're a lot more straight to the point. There's no fluff to it, no unnecessary details, no updates that contain no new information, no buckle up or any of the other color by number phrases either. Or a really sarcastic sort of writing style that's trying to be funny, or any that give the idea that as soon as it happened, they were on their phone to update people rather than taking a day or two to decompress. They all want posts to generate more user flair for the sub. Yeah, I do get that impression sometimes. Sorry for the silly question, but what's a user flare? And there's no response to that. That's just the end of the comments section. So I'm gonna go and wait. Ooh, hang on. I found the post. Dang it, dang it, dang it. Oh, there it is. Okay. My boyfriend Okay, my 26 female boyfriend, 28 male, of 4 years is independently wealthy but wants to split all of our expenses evenly. This one is concluded as well. Trigger warning, exploitation, and classism. Original post is July 5th, 2016. Holy crap, another post that's from like 10 years ago. Okay, my boyfriend and I first met 5 years ago while we were both in school. He comes from a fairly wealthy family who paid for his entire education, both undergrad and graduate school, and I basically funded his entire life. Up until 3 years ago, I didn't know any of this. I, on the other hand, come from a solidly middle class family and have been supporting myself fully since I graduated. Before that, my parents helped me out, but I also worked to put myself through college. When we first started dating, my boyfriend and I more or less split everything evenly. Barring a few circumstances, we always bought our own dinner, movie tickets, chipped in for gas on road trips, etc. He never once mentioned his or his family's money. After a year of dating, I met his parents and figured it all out. At the time, I was a bit miffed that our date nights were still eating frozen pizza on the couch of my crappy apartment, but I loved him, not his money. So I went with it. I also justified it by it being his money and he can do what he wants with it. And also, at the time, I figured his parents were just his meal ticket until he was out of school, and then he would be more independent. Yeah. We live together now. I've learned that is not the case. While he does work, his parents have no intention of ever cutting him off, and he has enough inheritance or whatever money to keep him afloat, even if they did. I work too, but make significantly less than him, and I definitely don't have a rich grandparent somewhere leaving me half the world. This leads us to our problem. My boyfriend has always lived a fairly modest life. He buys nice clothes and nice things for himself, but that's about it. We live in an apartment that we can afford to split 50-50. We have furniture that we can afford to split 50-50. All of this is not a problem, I guess. I do think relationships should be equal. But then there is the other stuff. His sister got married at the end of May in Maine, about a 6 hour flight from where we live. Obviously, he expected me to go, but I was responsible for all of my ticket and half the hotel, food, car rental. This was a serious strain on my finances. When we moved in together, he brought along his dog. Now I love this animal and love having him in our apartment. But my boyfriend now considers it our dog now and expects me to pay for half his food and other expenses. If he didn't already have this dog, I would have held off on getting a dog of our own for another year or two until I was a little more stable financially. And then there's things like groceries. My boyfriend will often complain about how we can't afford nicer groceries from Whole Foods or other specialty stores because I'm paying half and my half just won't cover it. I mentioned that he can pay for what he wants, but he just says that we need to split it and he knows I can't afford it, which at least isn't hypocritical, I guess. He has also mentioned recently wanting to move to a nicer apartment in a nicer part of town. He has even toured a few places and leaves printouts on top of my lunch for work. Well, I could technically afford it. Using that high of a percentage of my income for rent makes my head hurt. It goes against every fiber of my being. I've told him if he was willing to split it a bit more, like 60-40 instead of 50-50, I would be willing, but he refuses. I understand where he is coming from. I don't want to be a gold digging girlfriend that asks for thousands to be spent on her, but it kind of annoys me that we're living a poor, recent graduate lifestyle when we could be living so much more nicely with no real added expense to him. Is this unreasonable? It also worries me for the future. I want to marry and have a family with this guy. Is he going to deny our kids a private school education because I can't afford half when he could pay it 5 times over? Are we going to take them to lesser doctors because I can't afford half the insurance when he could pay for the entire visit out of pocket? I'm not saying we need to live lavishly. I just wish everything didn't have to be 50-50 when we're not financially equal. I just don't know if I'm being unreasonable. He seems to think that the wealth of a family should match the lowest common denominator. Relevant comments, and someone says, to be honest, these actions make me think that he doesn't see this as his entire future. I get it. I wouldn't want to be seen as a gold digger either, but wage disparity exists in lots of relationships, and sometimes one party is going to carry more of the financial weight. That's life and love. Also, I think the wedding thing really bothered me. I mean, if you want me to travel with you, why wouldn't you offer to help with the expense? Otherwise, I'll be at home and see you when you get back. I just can't imagine straining myself financially for someone who clearly is that concerned about money and how much they have and keeping it all to themselves. I wouldn't have gone to the wedding, to be honest. I would have been like, no, I'm gonna stay home on this one if, you insist that I have to go, but you're not willing to pay. That's not being a gold digger. That's setting clear boundaries and not spending money where I don't need to spend it or where I don't have it to spend. OOP says, normally I would be inclined to agree with you, but he does want to get married. If things went his way, we would be married by the end of this year. For my own reasons, I never wanted to get married before 30, but I've been willing to compromise for him because I really do love him. We will probably be married within the next 2 years. The wedding thing did bug me, but I also kind of understand it. His sister and I get along very well, and I consider her a good friend. I wouldn't want to miss out on her wedding. It's not like I was just his plus one. at a random wedding, but I do wish he had helped me out a little, especially since paying for my ticket or even just paying for all of the rental car would have helped me out a lot and not even made a dent in his pocket. And then someone responds to that, what's he going to do when you're married? Still insist you pay for half of everything, or will you merge finances? OP says he wants to merge finances. We have a pretty strict budget right now, and it gets split 50-50 from our own money. When we get married, he says that we will have a joint account that goes towards what we split now. Ugh. Little personal expenses like haircuts, trips out with friends, etc., would be paid for from our own separate accounts. I just don't really see that happening given how strict he is now. If he wants to do something and I can't afford it, we won't do it, which I get. I think that's reasonable. But I also think we've been together for 4 years. I'm not his pal bumming money for a cigarette. I'm his living girlfriend, and most of what I buy he benefits from too anyway. And then a deleted commenter says, that sounds like you'll have an endless supply of fun money and you'll have nothing. Marital expenses should be proportional in most cases. If you're living together, I think that would apply as well. OP responds, our situation isn't quite as dire as that. I think a lot of this post made it sound like I'm dirt poor when that isn't the case. But I've only been working for 4 years. We live in a rather expensive city. I do well for my age, but I'm definitely still very conscious of my spending habits and I'm trying to build up my savings before I get to the age where I'm wanting to buy a house or start a family. I'm 26. I don't know too many 26-year-olds who can afford fancy wine from fancy stores or fly across the country and stay in nice hotels on short notice. At least not if they're smart about their money. I do agree the expenses should be proportional. I just don't know how to get them to see that. So someone else says, how does he justify making you pay for his dog? Do you get half ownership of the dog? Visitation when you guys break up? Not cool. And OOP responds, when he moved in, I kind of assumed equal ownership of the dog. We care for it equally. It's not like he's taking sole care of it. Whoever is up first feeds him, whoever is home first walks him, etc. So it kind of makes sense that we would both pay, but at the same time, I agree with you. Well, I don't see us breaking up. It could happen, and the dog would definitely go with him. And there I am, having spent thousands of dollars of the course of a few years for an animal I don't even have. We have a set budget that gets split 50-50 for household things. The dog just got lumped in there. No, I would be talking to him and be like, you need to pay for your own dog. You brought the dog and I don't have the money to do this right now. Like, you need to be clear with him. I would have been clear with him. Well, unlump it. He needs to pay for his own dog. He is either incredibly naive about money or he feels it is okay to take advantage of you. I would suggest that he probably eats more than half the food he makes you pay half for as well. It's fine to make sure that both people pull their weight financially, but he is causing you to spend extra money for him, even though he has far more money than you. Have you asked him why he thinks it's okay to be selfish like this? OOP says, I don't really think it I don't really think of it as him being selfish, I guess. I was raised in a household where money was completely pooled, so I guess I'm just having a hard time adjusting. And I realize that we're not married, but we've been in a relationship for over 4 years and we live together. I wouldn't ask him to spend a dime more if we were still just casually dating or living apart, or even if we lived together but had only been dating for a year or so. He's actually pretty smart about money, which I like about him, but it's not like he's totally frugal. He just bought himself a really nice watch just because. Hell, even the gifts he buys me are always around the price point of what I could afford half of, even though I don't pay. And I feel absolutely awful for even mentioning that because I truly do appreciate everything he has ever gotten me. But it's also kind of hurtful to see him buy his sisters and family these really nice luxury items, and then I get the same sub $100 gifts he gets his friends. They're always thoughtful, which I appreciate, but at the same time, come on. I do agree that I need to stop paying for the dog. I just also have a sort of hard time actually saying that because I do enjoy and benefit from the dog just as much as he does. I do love dogs and grew up around them and grew up with them. I'd want one again one day. I just didn't want one right now. There you go. That's why he needs to pay for his own dog. There you go. Okay, and Someone else says, tell him if he doesn't want to pay the difference between what you can afford and what he wants to have, then he needs to quit complaining about what you can afford. That's not a fair or nice thing to do to your partner. And OP responds, he should be home from work within the next hour and I will be discussing everything with him then. I'm going to propose that we rework our original budget so that the percentage of income is even rather than just split the cost of everything equally. And OOP added this as a response to a comment. He's a 100% on our money person and has said he wants to have a joint account to cover major expenses from after marriage. Small personal expenses would still be covered independently, but even that would be out of ease, not having to check with the other spouse before getting a $50 haircut or buying a new pair of shoes, for example. Otherwise, what's his is mine and vice versa. I guess I just think it's a little unreasonable to wait 2 years to get married and to start doing that at all. I'm not saying we should pool our finances right now, but if he wants fancy meat from a specialty butcher for dinner one night, why doesn't he buy it? Yeah, I'll eat half of it, but we're both benefiting from it. If he wants to live in a nicer place, I don't think it's unreasonable that he picks up the difference. If I'm working late, I don't think it's crazy to ask him to go pick up shampoo, toothpaste, whatever, and not ask me to pay him the $4 back. I would be happy to do the same for him. Update July 6th, 2026 or 2016. I read the wrong date. No, it's July 6th, 2016. It's in the future. Okay, a couple people had asked for an update after I talked to my boyfriend today, so here goes. It's been a long afternoon. Uh, he got home early this afternoon. He had a dentist appointment and just came home after, and I had my presentation ready for him. He's listened to everything I had to say about not thinking things were fair, how his wants were starting to cause a financial strain on me, how I wished we could work out some sort of new system. The conversation didn't last long. I laid it all out. He listened without saying a word. As soon as I was done, he said he would not budge on the 50-50 split, that is the way it will be until after we're married, and it is not something he is willing to compromise on. I told him that if that was the case, I did not know if I was going to be able to continue the relationship. He said that if that was the way I felt, then that was the way it was going to be because he wasn't budging. He did say we could get married very soon if it was that big of a deal to me, but at that point I was pretty much over it. Oh. I'm not going to marry someone before I'm ready just for financial security. So he left to take his dog for a walk. I packed up some of my things a coworker and had a coworker with a truck come and help me load some stuff up. When I was ready to go, my ex-boyfriend handed me a check. Apparently, during all of this, he had figured out how much he owed me. Our apartment lease is up at the end of August, and we had prepaid. He had written out the check for my half, as well as what he estimated was left of the groceries that I would not be consuming, and what he figured I had spent on dog expenses over the course of our relationship. Yeah, so I guess he was fair to the very end. I've told him I'll be back on Friday to get the rest of my things. For now, I'm staying with a good friend who has an extra bedroom, and I'm hoping I can find a new apartment soon. So things definitely didn't go the way I planned. I'm not happy about it, but I guess I'm glad I figured out now instead of a year from now when I'm shopping for a wedding dress. Thanks to everyone for the advice. All right. I don't think OP's boyfriend is a bad person necessarily. I just think this wasn't the right relationship for him. I get I get the 50-50 split. I get the whole thing. I do. Like, it's fine, but constantly complaining about, not having the stuff you want, even though you can afford it, but you refuse to pay because it's not even. That's kind of ridiculous. So you shouldn't be complaining about it. You should either go and buy it because you have the money for it, or you should, like, just not have it and not complain about not having it. And just so you guys know, technically, with my disability checks, I'm below the poverty line right now. Like, I'm actually below the poverty line. I just don't live like I'm below the poverty line because of the way my expenses are, dispersed. Like, I pay I'm able to pay for streaming services and treats every month because of the way my expenses are, and especially now when living with my mom, like, I am basically paying $300 for the storage locker that I have. that I have a lot of my stuff in. There's like a lot of books in there, and most of my furniture had to be moved in there when I moved here because we just don't have the space for it. And I don't really need my furniture right now because my mom has all her own stuff, so I'm just using that stuff. I mean, this table did come with me because I need it for my work, and we didn't have another table that I could use, and so my mom brought the coffee table, and I had to put the coffee table in there. Even the table that Yahtzee's tank is sitting on was already here. Like, I just brought the tank. He he's actually sitting at, and this is really, really cool. He's actually sitting on a table that my grandpa made, like made with his own bare hands. He like woodworked that entire table by himself. So like I I don't know if you guys remember, like, a year ago, yesterday was the, 1-year anniversary of my grandpa's death, by the way. I just didn't mention it because, I spent the whole day at home not thinking about it. I was eating chocolate and watching TV and focusing on stuff that wasn't that. Anyway, but yeah, he he made that table, and that's basically what I'm keeping of my grandpa. Like, Yahtzee lives there now, but, it's still my table, and, since I put the tank on it, my mom and I have talked about me just taking it with me, and Yahtzee the tank fits on it perfectly, and he doesn't need a bigger tank. I bought him the tank that he would need. I am going to replace the enclosure at some point because right now I need to replace it with a front opening one at some point. I would like to do that. And I was actually I bought that enclosure because it's used. That was a used tank. I don't know if you guys remember like a couple years ago. I think it was in December of 2023 when I just brought home a tank from the reptile store because I was looking because I happened to be there buying mice and buying crickets for my tarantulas, and I saw the tank there, and it was like $70. So I just like fucking brought it home. I just bought it, and then I brought it home, and my mom helped me, and we were able to get it home. But I bought it used because I didn't have a lot of money at that point because I was paying approximately $500 in rent at my apartment where I used to live, which is the apartment that I don't live in anymore. It's the place that I moved from into my mom's place. I was only supposed to stay here for 1 summer, and that was 2 summers ago now. Legitimately 2 summers ago. Like the day I moved in, it just passed. I moved in on like May middle of May, so between May 12th and it was probably like the 16th or something. And then I literally got my Yahtzee like a few days later. Like I got Yahtzee like a week after I moved in. So basically, I moved in, and then the expo happened, and I bought Yahtzee. That's what happened. I bought Yahtzee. His adoption day was May 26th, so that also happened recently. And his birthday is actually exactly 6 days before his adoption day. So his birthday is May 20th, and then his adoption day is the 26th. That's when I actually like picked him up from the expo and brought him home. And then the day that my grandpa died was the 27th. It was a year after I got the snake, though. The first time right after, like, pretty much right after I got Yahtzee. Like, I'm talking, like, 2 days later, my mom wakes me up in the middle of the night because grandpa was sick. But he was fine, he recovered, which was a miracle. That is not the that's not the word the hospital wants to use. It's the word I'm gonna use and my mom's gonna use. We're both Christians, we both believe in God, we both believe in miracles. That's what happened. I'm just saying it was a miracle. It was God. And then I got to have one more visit with my grandpa before he actually passed away. And it sucks because I would be seeing him in a couple months if he was still here. If he was still here, I would be seeing him in probably June or August or something. Either June or August. I only say that because my mom's going away in July, so we couldn't go then. But pretty much right after my grandpa recovered, I got to, like, he was still in the hospital, but I had a visit with him while he was still in the hospital. And we just, like, sat and talked a bit. but it was really nice because it was the last time I saw him before, he had issues again and didn't recover this time. Like, my mom sent me a message at, like, 4 o'clock in the morning telling me that grandpa passed away, so that was really depressing. But, okay, anyway, there's a little more of this story. So, um, I think this might be it though. We just got the relevant comments and then I think it's over. There might be because I think that pretty much wraps up the story. Anyway, relevant comments. So someone says, I bet you anything that since this guy was old enough to realize the importance of money, he was drilled with lessons from his parents that you should never, under any circumstances, support someone financially until marriage. The 50-50 split was probably something he was taught as a way of protecting himself and his assets, and he followed it to the letter. Unfortunately, like a lot of people for money, he did not realize the financial impact on you of raising your standard of living. This is where he needed to budge a little bit. And then OP replies, I think you are right. As horrible as all of this seems, he really isn't a bad guy. I wouldn't have stayed with him for nearly 5 years if he was. Uh, but if it, but his ideas about money and how relationships work are totally different from mine, and I can't compromise on everything. I'm not happy that it ended this way, but what's done is done. And someone else says, I will say this one thing despite the bad outcome. Of all the men in this world who go absolutely psycho and work harder and start stalking people, or who generally just can't accept that their significant other is leaving them and have mental breakdowns and all the things in between. This guy stroked a check like a businessman, handed it to her, and went about his day. I mean, that is both strange and rare, but it's so rare that you gotta wonder if there's some hidden issues. I could see Bruce Wayne doing this, but he's also Batman who has heavy mental and emotional issues. Like others have said, bullet dodged on this one. I'm not sure that's a bullet dodge situation. It wasn't the right relationship for OP, that's all. And then OP responds, he wouldn't have been the man I fell in love with if he went crazy and tried to win me back. That's not the kind of relationship we had, which isn't to say I don't think the check thing was totally bizarre. I do, but I think that was just his little way of saying fuck you. Like when a kid is told to eat slower and then takes an hour to finish dinner or something. Uh, oh. You think it was his little way of saying fuck you? I'm not 100% sure that that's the case. I think it's just him being completely fair. But anyway, OP says to a deleted commenter, he wanted things I couldn't afford, which is fine, but I told he could pay a bit more and have those things, or 50-50 and live on my terms and what I can afford. He didn't want to budge and then continue to complain or push for more expensive things. For instance, he knows what type of meat I can afford. We split groceries 50-50, and then he would come home with expensive cuts and ask for my half. That's not okay. He wanted a very pricey apartment. I said it wasn't going to work with my budget. He would continue to leave flyers for very expensive places on my lunch or in the hallway where I would see it. Okay, that's a problem. That's a problem. If he wants those things, then yeah, I don't think a 50-50 split is fair if it means he just gets to keep his money and I'm struggling to make ends meet. Yeah. Yeah. So basically, so that's it. That's the entire post. Think I'm gonna stop here. It's only been about 40 minutes, but I need to take a little break and eat something and stuff like that. Uh okay, it's 6:45 right now. Currently, I'm just checking to see if my phone has the same time on it because sometimes my phone like resets itself to a different time than my laptop. And I'm not talking like hours of difference. I'm talking like a few minutes. Few minutes of a difference. And the other day, it was like half an hour or so of difference. Like my phone remained at 11:02, even though my computer said 11:30. It was crazy. It was weird. It was totally weird. Anyway, I reset it again, like manually. Hopefully that won't happen again. I might come back tomorrow. I might come back tonight, or I'm gonna come back tomorrow. We'll see. It depends what time my mom's gonna be home. I have no idea when her workshop is ending. But She has a calendar on the fridge, so maybe I can go find out. But I'm gonna eat something and I'll see you guys back in when I see you. But yeah, basically, like, I am factually below the poverty line. I'm just not spending money in a way that you would think that. Like, you walk into my house and you wouldn't think that. It was completely different when I was in my old apartment. Things were a lot more stringent. Like, for example, I didn't have a bunch of streaming services. I had like I had the Netflix, which my mom has always paid for and always will pay for. And then I had like basic Disney Plus and basic Amazon Prime. I have ad-free Prime now, by the way. Like I updated it recently. I think like a month ago at this point, almost a month ago. But yeah, I had the basic streaming services. I had basic Disney Plus and I had Prime because those were the only two I really needed, and Netflix. But like I said, my mom pays for the Netflix, so I was only spending like $20 a month, and I didn't have to worry about it. And the Passport program was paying for my internet and my phone bill. It still is, as far as I know. Like I'm not paying for it. I'm not giving my mom the money. As far as I know, she's not taking it out of my account because Passport can and does pay for that stuff. So yeah, so the reason I'm able to do stuff is because I am living with my mom and because the disbursement of funds is totally different. It's still going to be different when I move into subsidized housing. It's still going to be different, which is the only way I'm moving out at this point. When they say they have an apartment available, I'll move out then. But until then, um it's just it is what it is, and I don't know. My mom and I have both, I think, accepted this situation. Neither of us are happy about it, but we've accepted it. um, but regardless, yeah. And I also have the passport program, so that also makes up for a giant portion of it. That's how I can like take Ubers places and go to concerts and go to reptile expos in the freaking city. Like I went to an expo last month in the city. I posted a few pictures. I didn't get as many pictures and videos as I wanted to. I should be going to another one this summer, maybe in June or August or whenever. I don't really know when the next one is. I'm gonna keep checking the site, and me and my mom are gonna decide on something. We decided we didn't want to go to the one this weekend, but we're still getting cake this weekend because me and my mom already like talked about it. So our plan is to we were gonna go after the dentist, but then we didn't go. We were never going to go to the expo this weekend because we already talked it over, but we were going to get cake this weekend. And there's actually a Shake Shack. Most of you guys know this is in the US. They have a Shake Shack in the mall directory for the mall that has the only cake vending machine that exists anymore other than in airports. So apparently it's like a cake vending machine. uh, I was going on about the Shake Shack. No, okay, so yeah, we go to the mall that has the cake vending machine in it on Saturday. So I'm gonna get cake, and then I'm also gonna get Shake Shack for dinner because they have burgers and all sorts of stuff that I love so much. And I want to try Shake Shack, and this might be my one chance to do it because it's only in the US, and this is the only Shake Shack in Canada as far as I know. So I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna get burgers and fries and hopefully it goes well. Mm. I wonder if they have curly fries. Hang on, let me look this up real quick. I gotta look this up real quick. Oh, okay. Mom just sent me a text, so I think she's on her way home. Does Shake Shack have curly fries? Dang it, they do not have curly fries. Ooh, they have crinkle cut fries. Yay. Hang on, let me just make sure that I know what I'm talking about. Shake Shack near me. There's one in Vaughan Mills. There's one in the Yorkdale Shopping Center. There's one in King West. Young and Dundas. Okay, I'm looking for the one. There it is. Mississauga, Ontario, Square One Shopping Center, which if you guys are in Canada and you want Carlos Bakery, you have to go to the Square One Shopping Center or go to a city airport. You can't interesting. Okay, yeah. It turns out there were a few Shake Shacks, unfortunately, none at the mall in my hometown, but they do exist. Okay, my mom's text says, "On my way home, I'll see you soon." So I have to, like, just stop recording this right now. But I also wanted to say Paralyze is out right now, early access. I'm gonna try and what I'm going to try and do, what I want to do is secure a Steam gift card from my mom to pay for it, or at least pay for part of it. So I'm going to try and like get the gift card and then buy it on Steam this summer, like before, because my mom and I are doing the birthday thing. She leaves before the 13th, so we're actually doing my birthday day on the 3rd, like, we're gonna open presents and make chocolate chip pancakes and all the stuff that we would normally do together on my birthday. So I'm gonna try and get like I'm gonna try and ask her for a gift card. I don't know what she's bought already. I feel like it might be too soon for her to be buying presents. I don't actually know. I don't know. I don't know when she buys presents and stuff. I'm gonna suggest the Steam gift card to her and, kind of push her towards it. But I want to try and get it no matter what because she's gonna be gone for the whole month of July and a little bit of August. So my plan right now is to like do a bunch of YouTube uploads and I also have a big list of books that I want to read. And I'm probably going to try and finish like one book a week while she's away. So I have big plans and I'm going to try and get it all done. And it might be a little tricky, but I'm gonna try. I have stuff I want to do. I really, really, really want to play Paralives. I fucking love Sims. I love Sims 4, and even though it's been forever since I played it, I still want to play more of it, and I also want to play Paralives because it sounds so much better, but it's only the like early release right now, so it might be a couple more years until we get the full game, but I'll be interested as they keep adding new stuff. Okay, so see you guys. Hey guys, I'm gonna I'm gonna record. I always have to yawn as soon as I turn the camera on, I swear. Anyway, I'm gonna record for a couple hours today. So let's get going. And the first story we have is called Mother-in-law invited people we don't know to our wedding. She won't uninvite them because that's embarrassing. Mm. This is marked as concluded and originally posted to r/2 hot takes. Uh, Original post February 4th, 2026. Sorry for the length, but I wanted to make sure people have enough information. My fiance and I, who are male and female, both mid-20s, got engaged January 2025 and plan to get married spring 2026, so very soon. Wedding planning has been a nightmare. Mm. It seems like everyone has an expectation for how the wedding/wedding planning is supposed to be. Is supposed to be. For context, I am paying for 75% of the wedding, and my parents are covering the remaining 25%. I have no idea who the parents are. I don't know if I assume it's all four of the parents. I don't know. Although they like to act like they're paying for everything, I was able to call out my parents for their behavior and draw boundaries. But with his parents, particularly mother-in-law, they've been very difficult. Right. Even with the small stuff. Some examples, the fiance and I toured venues alone. His parents were very upset they didn't get to see the venue beforehand. Like, really upset. I ended up scheduling a second tour so both our parents can see it. Simple fix. Yeah, except you have to pay for it twice, so they should be taking care of it. Hopefully, they took care of the second tour because I assume you have to pay for that. I don't know a lot about weddings or wedding planning, but I assume you have to pay for that. Right. I mentioned how I wanted to do wax seals on our invites and had already bought the supplies, but mother-in-law was adamant I use different supplies and do the seals how she liked them. I hope if that was the case, if you guys actually did that, first of all, I would have said no, but I hope if you guys did get I'm trying not to yawn. I hope if you guys did get different supplies, then mother-in-law paid for them because that's ridiculous to make you pay for. Anyway, I talked about the tentative timeline. The wedding will run from 3:30 to 9:30 p.m. Everyone has to be off the property by 10 p.m. because of noise ordinances. It's outdoors. Mother-in-law was disappointed. Apparently 6 hours was just not enough time. Okay, shut this shit down. You gotta shut this shit down. Me personally, I would just give the money back so she has no say over the wedding and be like, "Here, you didn't pay for anything. You have no say over the wedding. Stop controlling this shit." Let's see what happens. Mother-in-law bought my fiance lotion, body wash, and a candle from Bath and Body Works. It's part of a wedding collection they had. She requires my fiance use the products the day of the wedding. It will be a moment, she said. Okay, this is insane. The biggest fight so far, the church. Oh boy. We were both raised Catholic and chose not to get married in the church. My family doesn't care. Lots of us have moved away from the faith anyways. His family, tears, pleading, begging. Please pray about it. God will still love you, but wouldn't it be great to have God's blessing? My brother, who is a Pentecostal pastor, will be officiating. Okay, you have God's blessing whether you get married in a church or not. I don't think God really cares that much where you get married. He's kind of got bigger fish to fry with world wars and stuff. Now on to the guest list. We both come from large families. That would put us at a guest list of 100 That would put us at a guest list of 100 people for just the core group. Parents, siblings, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins. Uh, Add in friends and selective plus ones, and we get to around 150 people. That's plenty of people. My parents asked if they could invite some of their friends. Nope, not happening. We are full. They were a little mad, but didn't push the subject further. But then there's his parents. Unbeknownst to my fiance or me, my mother-in-law forwarded our save the date to several members of her extended family that we do not know. We only found out this past November. She asked to see the guest list during Thanksgiving to make sure everyone that needs to be invited is invited. Immediate red flag. We told her who was invited, and then she began listing names we never heard of. We were confused and said they're not invited. She's visibly upset and starts arguing with the fiance. By the way, what is the fiance doing here? 'Cause you said she demanded all this stuff, but you didn't say if your fiance was like, "No, we're not doing that." If the fiance isn't standing up for you, he's part of the problem too. Then anyway, so says says that these are the most important people to her and she already invited them. He tells her it's not her place to invite people to a wedding. For the first time in the story, he actually speaks up. Thank God. I stay out of it. I stay out of it, but my face speaks for me. I signal to my fiance to let it go and we can talk about it later. We left the conversation telling mother-in-law we'll talk about it after Thanksgiving. Well, we never talked about it. Fiance tried to make a game plan with his dad, thinking if he can be on our side, it would make talking to his mom much easier. At least he's standing up for her, geez. But they are both non-confrontational. They are both non-confrontational and wanted to ignore the entire situation. I guess mother-in-law was crying to father-in-law about the guest list for a while. It was eating her alive. Father-in-law got annoyed and fed up, texted the fiance to invite the additional people. Fiance said no, but they won't let it go. I let fiance know he should continue to handle it since it's his parents. But the second his parents involve me, I'll handle it. He doesn't want that to happen. 3 days ago, it happened. She involved me. Mother in law texted fiance and me in a group chat. Starts off strong. I've thought about the people in my life that really matter to me that I would like to be invited to a wedding. To put it short, she pulls the dead parents card. Dad passed when she was 11 and mom when she was in her mid 20s, and talks about how these people are parts of her parents. Claims they've been at every big family event. I haven't met these people in the past 7 years we've been together, and my fiance says he's only met them a couple of times. It's not your wedding, though. It's not her wedding. It's your wedding and his wedding and not the mother-in-law's wedding. Mm. So the mother-in-law doesn't get a say. She already said not everyone invited is going to make it, so there should be room to invite additional people. She's already invited them and they're so excited. She even sent them the hotel block information 7 to 8 weeks after we initially told her they weren't invited. It would be really embarrassing for her to uninvite them after all of that. Too fucking bad. She's praying we allow them at our wedding. His parents did offer to cover the additional costs. We since haven't responded. Well, maybe if you didn't want to embarrass yourself by uninviting people, you shouldn't have invited people you weren't allowed to invite. Here's my perspective. It's not about money, it's about respect. We've spent months now telling his parents how it's going to be, but they won't respect what we say. Just write them a check for whatever amount they spent on the wedding and give it back and be like, here, you want to claim you have a say over a wedding because you spent money on it? Here's the money back. You have no say. It if it's not about money, then you might as well give them the money back. Because clearly they're making it about money because they think they have some say in your wedding because they paid for part of it. Um, they worry more about how they feel. Mother-in-law is upset the wedding isn't how she pictured, and father-in-law just wants her to be quiet. I empathize with mother-in-law's situation and losing her parents all those years ago. I lost my mom 4 years ago, and then my brother less than 2 years later. It sucks that there are people who can't be there and it's out of our control, but that doesn't mean she can require certain people be invited. She might be the mother of the groom, but she is a guest. Guests can't control how the wedding will be. She's already crossed so many boundaries, and it's not my responsibility to fix the mistakes she made. I told my fiance since it's his family, he makes the decision and I will support him. He said he wants to give in just to make it all stop, but that sets the wrong precedent. He doesn't want these people there. He's not close enough with them, and if they were really that important, they would have been around more. He also doesn't want to start a marriage by ignoring my feelings and just doing what his mom says. He's torn and hurting. I've offered to be the one to respond as I promised so that I can take the heat, but he doesn't want to ruin the little chance I have at building a relationship with his mom. Ugh. At least the guy is standing up for you, because so many guys will just be like, so many guys will just be like, "Well, it's my mom. I can't really say no to my mom, can I?" And just, like, cave. With that, how would you respond? We agreed any response needs to be in writing since most of our conversations have been verbal and misconstrued. Having it in writing makes it clearer. They're not misconstruing anything, they're deliberately ignoring what you want. Should I mention that second venue tour I scheduled with the parents is in 3 days. Thanks in advance for whatever advice you can give. Relevant comments. You should only allow com- Commenter one. You should only allow mother-in-law to invite her people if your folks can also do the same. But honestly, do you really want people you don't even know at your wedding? I caved to my mother-in-law for my wedding and I still regret it. I've been married for 30 years, by the way. OP says, funny enough, she says the same thing about her wedding. Complains about how many friends and additional family each of their parents invited. She said it was overwhelming. When we say this is exactly the same as what she experienced, she backtracks. Commenter 2, oh god, imagine what's going to happen when kids come in the picture. OP says, don't even get me started on the kid convo. Did you know the entire point of marriage is to have children? No other reasons. I assume that's something that mother-in-law said. Uh, Commenter 3. Your fiance needs to take his balls back from his mother, who apparently keeps them in her purse. Yes, you can put it to bed, but is that like Is that the life you want? He doesn't like confrontation. Okay, and adults have to do lots of things we don't like without pushing our responsibilities off on others. Imagine how she will be if you have kids. Do you always want to be the enforcer? Do you always want to have to deal with the drama because your husband doesn't like to? That isn't fair to you. He needs to put his foot down and end this nonsense. Yes, you could do it, but guess what? So can he. He will grow from the experience. Let him do that. OP said he's gotten much better about sticking up for himself, but certainly it's not been perfect. He struggles to have difficult conversations, especially because his parents don't argue with reason, just emotion. Mhm. The idea of me being the enforcer has more to do with the fact that they can't argue with me the same way they argue with him. They don't speak to us the same way. They'll keep pushing him and never listen. They are usually pretty quiet once I get involved. It's a weird dynamic. Commenter 4, I don't understand why brides allow anyone to dictate their wedding choices. For the love of Zeus, learn to say the word no and mean it. Use the wax seal if you want it. Tell her she will uninvite her unapproved guests, or they will be turned away at the door by the security you are hiring, and then do just that. You're getting married, so presumably you are adults. Start acting like it. That's actually such a good point. You could just get security and be like, hey, don't let these people in and give them like a list. Like, don't let certain people in. These are the people that are allowed. These are the people that are not allowed, okay? Anyone who's not on this list of people that are allowed is not allowed. Um, OB says the problem is they don't understand the meaning of no. It's not in their dictionary. We've said it multiple times, but it just doesn't click. Wax seals, yeah, I pieced her for the time and then went home and made the invites. How? Hang on. I gotta get my phone charger. Okay. Anyway, wax seals? Yeah, I appeased her for the time and then went home and made the invites how I wanted them. The candle lotion stuff? We've already burnt the candle. Nice scent. We'll just happen to forget the other things at home the day of the wedding. Oops. The church/venue issues? Well, I already paid the venue, so can't change it now. The guest list thing is just something less out of our control in terms of how the response will be. I don't have the contact information of the people she invited, so it's not like I can tell them myself. What if these people show up even after confirming several times they weren't invited? Then it turns into this huge dramatic moment that was unavoidable if his parents knew what no meant. We just want to avoid a massive family blow up at the wedding. Okay, but you can hire security and let security deal with it. Let security handle it. There you go. Then you don't have to worry about it becoming a whole thing on your wedding day. So you can simply tell her, yeah, you can either uninvite these people or security is going to turn them away at the door and then hire security and then they can deal with it and then you don't even have to worry about it. There you go. So what's the problem if you're not going to hire security? Like people said, just do that. Commenter 5 says, are you sending out paper invitations? If so, just don't send them one. You won't receive an RSVP back from them. Obviously, they may still get the wedding details from MIL, but I cannot imagine going to a wedding I didn't get an actual invitation for. OP says, I already sent out paper invites. Obviously, these people will not receive one. We have an online RSVP on our wedding website, and they won't be able to because their names don't show up on the guest list. But people are unpredictable. I hope common sense would tell them they're not invited based on the fact they didn't receive an invite, but I fear mother-in-law's persistency might give them the wrong impression. Edit. Some people commented that my fiance clearly told me he wants to invite them, and I didn't support his decision. So I asked him to clarify my position to make sure I didn't misunderstand him. He said she can go fuck herself. Crass but gets the point across. Asked him what he meant when he previously mentioned just giving in to her request, and he said instinctively he just wants to give in. That's how he was raised, but realistically, he thinks it's unfair of her to put us in this position and she shouldn't get her way. She's manipulated him in the past and he wants to end the cycle. At least your fiance is like standing up to you and wanting to stand up to his mom too, because holy crap, the way that she's acting is not okay, but it's nice to know that you made everything how you like it, that you made the invitations how you like it and stuff like that. Because I was like, oh God, you didn't give in to the way that she wanted you to do it, right? You didn't give in to her invites and making them the way that she wanted, right? So I'm really glad to hear that you made them the way you wanted, because it's your wedding. You should have things the way you want them, and the only opinions that should matter are yours and your fiance. The only opinions that should matter are the two people getting married. Everyone else, their opinions don't matter. It's not their wedding. It's a big day, and you only get one. I guess in I guess in some cases you get more than one, but in a lot of cases, you get 1. Commenter 6. I effing hate group messages with my husband's family and myself. Ugh. It's so passive aggressive manipulation. It is 100% about respect or lack thereof. My husband and I have been together 10 years, married for 3. Mhm. If you don't set the boundaries now, they will be pushed forever. Literally forever. Stand up for yourselves, please. Edit sad. We eloped for this reason. People just are so self centered when they've already had their life. We tried to have a reception 6 months later, and my mother in law made it about her and acted like yours. I shut it down. No reception for anyone. Kinda sucks because we wanted to celebrate with our friends, but I wasn't going to let her walk all over what we wanted. OP says, dude, the group chat thing is so weird. Like, she won't even text me about small things like what time I'm showing up for dinner without putting it in group chat. But his family operates on group chats. Everyone needs to know everything. I'm just happy I'm not in any of the other ones. I've spent years being disrespected by his parents, mostly mother in law. I'm a bit numb to it all at this point. It is what it is. Luckily, I have a decent relationship with the father-in-law, but he's got no backbone. Can't wait to see how the wedding actually turns out. Might have to tip my wedding coordinator generously to deal with her so I don't have to. Commenter 7. Maybe I'm in the minority. What mother-in-law is doing is wrong, but in the grand scheme, if she's paying for her additional guests, is it the worst thing in the world to just roll with it? My parents invited some friends of theirs I barely knew, but they wanted to share the joy with people they were close to, and it didn't bother me or take away from the day in the slightest. I do think no means no, but why start your marriage in a contentious place with the in laws when it's really not that big of a deal? Just my 2 cents. OP says, I get your point. Here's some context that might clear things up. I didn't mention this in the post, but when we first got engaged, my fiance had spoken with his parents about wedding expectations, including the guest list. He mentioned we planned on keeping the guest list simple since it was already sizable with just those we want to invite. They thought it was valid, even talked about their experience on their wedding when their own parents invited a bunch of people they didn't know. Mother in law complains about it and said it was so overwhelming for her. Seemed like everyone was on the same page about how we were about the going about the guest list. Flash forward to a few months ago, we find out she invited people we don't know and didn't ask if she could, just expected she could. It was like that earlier conversation never happened. Brought up her experience at her wedding and she backtracks. I think it's less about a guest list and more about wanting things her way. We're not having the wedding the way she wants it, so she's trying to find means to get it her way in some capacity. On top of that, I've told my own parents they couldn't invite friends, people we actually know. Feels weird to hold a standard to one family but not the other. It's more about the principle of the thing and the fact that she's saying no to everything and I need to have it the way that I wanted. Like even simple stuff like the invitations or making your fiance use specific body products or whatever. Like making him use specific body lotion or whatever, being like, "You have to smell like this." It's so stupid, which I love Bath& and Body Works, don't get me wrong, I love Bath& and Body Works. My hand sanitizer is from Bath& and Body Works. My shampoo that I currently have in the shower is from Bath& and Body Works. And like Bath& and Body Works is really, really nice. I love their products, but I don't want to like use specific products simply because my mom tells me to on my wedding day. It is stupid, and it is just her forcing her wants on you with no regard for what you actually want. And it doesn't matter. It's your day. And yeah, at the end of the day, you could let them in, but then you could let the people in, but then that sets a precedent that, okay, fine, we'll give in if you push enough. Like it sets that precedent, and that's not good. That's actually pretty dangerous. That's pretty dangerous. Okay. Update May 20th, 2026. 2.5 months later. Hi everyone, it's been a few months and I figured we could provide a bit of an update. The biggest update is we got married. It was such an amazing day and went just as we had planned. We're still in awe of how perfect it was for us. We don't regret a thing, except our DJ, but that's a story for another time. What happened to him? I want to hear this story now. In regards to dealing with mother-in-law and her guest list requests, the day after my initial post, my now husband sent a short text to both of his parents saying her extended family wasn't invited and we were done having this conversation. Added in that we were disappointed with their behavior and that they caused unnecessary stress. Uh, the response was interesting. Mother-in-law just responded saying she invited these people because we said it was okay in prior conversations, even though that never happened, and she has always been supportive of the wedding. That was never a concern, but now it is. There were no apologies, but we weren't expecting any. She also never said she would uninvite her guests, but she can confirm they did not come, but we can confirm they did not come to the wedding. His dad even made a comment about how selective the guest list was in his speech. Try to make it sound like everyone there should feel special they got an invite. Such a classy guy. Cheers. Oh boy. Um, responses to common comments and questions. How many people did she invite? We don't actually know. She was vague and told people different things. The text to us made it seem like she sent an open invite to her extended family and their families. How many people that includes is a mystery. Someone to the suggestions they should hire security. Here we go. This will explain things. This was a big consideration, and I had looked into it. Cost wise, we just couldn't do it. Luckily, we have some large, scary friends and family that could act as security in any given situation. Since we had no issues, there was no need for them. We're very happy it all worked out in the end. Just say no and have the wedding you want. That was always going to happen, and it did. The amount of things people wanted from us in our wedding was crazy. No was commonly heard from us. We had control over every single detail. In this instance, I was more concerned with people I didn't know showing up to the wedding because it was something we couldn't control, especially since we had no way of getting in contact with them, nor did we know how many people she invited. That's why I asked for advice. Thank you to everyone who provided meaningful advice. Life has been really peaceful since the wedding, and we are loving it. For those currently planning a wedding, take your time, enjoy the good moments, and do it your way. If you're worried about something going wrong, my mantra was fuck it. Let me tell you, it helped a lot. Okay, I'm glad she didn't cave. Once you caved the first time, then try to take more and more. I just wish parents could be happy for their children instead of making weddings about them. I hated the commenter that was like, "What's the worst that could happen? Save one headache, sign up for 100 more." And God knows how those uninvited guests would act, especially under the influence of alcohol. I mean, it didn't say they have an open bar. Most weddings do, though, so I'm assuming, yeah, they would have had an open bar. All right, next story. All right, we're gonna do one more, and then I'm gonna take a little break. Will I be the asshole if I broke up with my boyfriend because because my friends got him a me-shaped piñata? What the fuck? Okay. Originally posted to r/ am I the asshole relationships NOOP's own page. Thanks to a longtime lurker for suggesting this best of editor updates. Editor's note made paragraphs for easier reading. Trigger warning: infidelity. So I assume it was just a giant wall of text before. Infidelity. Wait. Oh. Original post February 10th, 2026. I, a 22 female, and my boyfriend Matt, a 22 male, have been together for a year and 8 months. Matt and I go to different universities in neighboring cities, about a 45-minute drive. Matt is in a fraternity, important for later. It was Matt's birthday on Friday, and him and I went out to dinner to celebrate. After dinner, I went back to my university since I live on campus. The next evening, I was on Instagram and I clicked on one of our mutual friends' private story, and I saw Matt and a bunch of his friends hitting and stomping on a piñata. By clicking through more of the stories, I figured it must have been a surprise party for Matt, since he had told me his only birthday plans were dinner with me. On the last slide of the Instagram story, I got a close up of the piñata and it looked exactly like me. From the hair color down to the skin color, even down to my septum piercing, there was no doubt that it was me. I was really confused and I screen recorded the stories, then I messaged the friend who posted the story. I asked her if that was me as the piñata and she left me on red and removed me from the close friend's story. This just confirmed my suspicions. The next day I texted him and asked how his party went, and he acted confused and said he never had a party. I was confused as to why he was lying to me. I told him I saw it on mutual friend's private story, and then he completely stopped answering. An hour later, he answered and said, "Yeah, the guys threw me a surprise birthday party. It's frat tradition not to talk about it, though." That's when I asked him about the me-shaped piñata, and I sent him the video of him and his friends destroying it. He told me that it was not me, it was just a random piñata the guys had found. I told him to stop lying to me and that it was obviously me. Can you do that? Can you order like custom piñatas? Because there's a couple things I'd like to hit with the stick, and I think you guys know what, or rather who. Um, I told him to stop lying to me and that it was obviously me. I told him how hurt I was that he would allow his friends to do something like that, and all he could answer was that they would kick him out of the frat if he didn't accept it. I also brought up how if his frat had thrown him a surprise party, why wasn't I invited? It was only like 45 minutes away. I knew it wasn't because it was only guys because the mutual friend who had posted it on the story. I knew it wasn't only guys I knew it wasn't only guys because the mutual friend who had posted on the story was a girl who goes to his university, and I saw in the story there were multiple girls there. He stopped answering me and hasn't since. It's been a day with no contact. I'm honestly considering breaking up with him over this. I've caught him in lies before, but this is too much. The video of him and his friends stomping the piñata was just so disturbing, and to find out that my face was on it. We were planning on moving in together after graduation, but honestly, I don't know anymore. Would I be the asshole if I broke up with him over this? Top comments. Why would you stay with him? He has lied before and is lying now. You are so young. Go live a valuable life without someone who doesn't seem to value you. And then someone responds to that. The lies plus the genuinely disturbing imagery means this isn't about the pinata. It's about who he is. Time to go. And then someone else says, "Oh, fuck, no, dump him." If his friends have a tradition of beating and stomping on effigies of their girlfriends, then the whole group is garbage. Plus, he lied, and he's lied before. Ma'am, your man is a woman-hating loser. Trust me, there are better men out there. And then someone else says, "Why even bother talking to him? Just ghost him. He beat a freaking pinata of you with his friends for fun. He doesn't even like you. One of those girls at his surprise party is his real girlfriend. Oh, and it was only a surprise to you. He deserves no more of your time." And then there was an update February 14th, 2026, 4 days later. Hi, everyone. Thank you for all the comments and messages. I've read each and every one of them, and I'm truly grateful for all the advice. Update. So Matt texted me back after a full day of incognito. He finally admitted that yes, the pinata was supposed to be me. He said it was just a joke and it was meant to be funny. I told him how disrespectful and disturbing that was. I ended up breaking up with him and told him I wasn't going to stay with the man child who was going to disrespect me for the fun of him and his friends. He completely lost it and begged me to stay. He was apologizing and saying he didn't want to lose me and blah blah blah. After I made it clear I wasn't going to take him back, he literally sent me a video of him making out with with the mutual friend. I don't know what the point of that was. Maybe just a final FU, but I honestly couldn't care at that point. I just realized how immature he was. I just blocked him. So, yes, most of you were right. He was cheating on me. I'm thankful that I didn't move in with this jerk and I saw him for what he really was, an immature man child. And yes, I will be sending the video to the university, though I doubt they will do anything. But yes, this is the update, and thanks again for all the support and kind words. They truly mean so much. I love when they do something right after that confirms dumping you was a great choice. It's such a favor. No worrying you overreacted. No peace trash. LOL, right? He thought he was getting a final fuck you in, but he was really giving her the gift of extra confirmation she made the right decision and dumped his sorry ass. He's a total and complete turd in the punch bowl. You were so much better off without him. Oh, this story is concluded, by the way, so there's not gonna be anything left. Oh, cute. Alright, but I need to take a short break, so I'll be back. Hey friends, I'm back. A couple of days later. Honestly, I've just been trying to read and it's been hard to be able to read and I I hate reading in my room these days because my bed frame keeps fucking creaking. Like every time I make the slightest movement, it goes creak and it's really annoying. Like So obnoxious. So I just stopped reading in my room. So usually I just try and read out here, which means it's much harder to get in the time to read that I would like. So it's really frustrating, but it is what it is. And me and my mom are gonna take a look at my bed this weekend. I I keep I keep telling her I need a new bed frame because mine has been breaking for years and we kept having to replace the boards and she kept having to put them back. And often I would end up like every few months, the boards would just break and I would end up on because it's there's wooden slats and, obviously I'd been gaining weight this whole time. So it's kind of been getting worse and worse. So every like 6 months or so, like at least a couple times a year, the boards would just break or fall down, and I wouldn't be able to. It wasn't secure anymore. So I would just end up sleeping on the floor and have my mattress on the floor for like a day or two until my mom could like fix it. Like I remember coming home from my wisdom teeth surgery and the bed broke that night and I had to put my mattress beside the bed and I ended up with all my shit beside the bed because I couldn't like sleep there anymore because the bed was broken. Like the boards didn't actually break, they just kind of detached from the bed frame and like fell down. So my mom would have to like take a look and try and put them back. And we actually got these boards cut specifically from the Canadian Tire to like place between the boards and the bed frame so that it would stay in place, or at least there would be some support there. And I keep telling my mom, like, if the bed breaks, I can't, like uh, if the bed breaks this time, I can't move my mattress to the floor. I literally don't have the space, and also, I just like to feel more secure, and I would also like the bed to stop creaking, so me and my mom are gonna kind of take a look at it and hopefully fix the creaking issue, but I'd still like to feel secure, and I keep talking to her about getting a new bed frame. I've been talking to her about it for, like, the last 2 months. You guys know how it goes. I have to bring up something about 100 times before she actually listens to it. I just made it very clear to her the other day, like, listen, if you don't buy me a bed frame before you leave on your trip, if we don't figure this out, I'm just gonna get a bed frame delivered and you're gonna have to figure out how to get the old one out of there and stuff. Like, I'm trying to give her the chance to, because I'm not letting her leave on a month-long vacation without having a solution for this. Like, and my mom says it looks fine, but from her, like, vision, I'm just saying it doesn't feel fine. It feels like it's gonna break any second. Like, I just have a bad feeling that it's coming, it's gonna happen, like, it's gonna eventually completely break, and I'm not gonna be able to have that bed frame anymore, and because the guest room there's a lot more space in there than it looks like. It's just my space is very limited in that room. Like I have a lot more space out here, so I prefer to do stuff out here when the opportunity presents itself or when I'm able because like the area of my room is so limited specifically because my mom turned it into an office like that was her when we moved in here when I was like 25, so nearly 7 years ago at this point. She kind of was like, "You guys need to move out," and I just ended up staying there for a few weeks, and then I moved in with my sister, and then obviously I moved back due to COVID and stuff. And I was actually talking to her recently about the fact that if I'd known that COVID was coming and I was going to be able to move back in with her, I would have held on to my cat for a few more months and just like stuck it out because the COVID thing came out of nowhere. But if I had known it was coming, if I had known this was going to be a big thing that I was going to be able to move in with my mom, then I would have held on to my cat because when I moved in here with my tarantulas, I bought tarantulas when I was in my own place, and obviously I got everything ready and prepared for my snake. And I already explained and mentioned that I didn't even get the snake until I moved back in here, and that was due to my mom's suggestion because she was the one who said that we shouldn't be moving my snake around as much because obviously, moving his tank all the time was gonna stress him out, and she just thought, "Well, they're moving back in a couple months, and obviously things would have been different if we had known that I was going to be living here for 2 years," like, she might have said no to the snake, but ultimately, things turned out exactly the way they should have, and, you know, even though getting rid of the cat was the hardest, like, decision of my life, I know that it happened for a reason, like, but yeah, ultimately, if I'd known I was gonna be moving in with her in March, I would have just kept the cat around for like 4 or 5 more months. Cause honestly, mom didn't make me get rid of my tarantulas, and I know she would have done the same thing with the cat. Like, she would not have made me get rid of the cat. We would have worked around it, and obviously, it would have been really tricky, but my mom isn't the kind of parent who's like, "Oh, you can't have that animal in here." Like, if I already have the animal and I have to move back in with her for whatever reason, that's why I'm waiting to get a cat. That's why I'm just waiting for things to be absolutely secure before I get a cat, like, and my mom already said, "No more pets," and that was, like, 2 years ago after I got my snake. We talked about it, and she said, "I don't want you bringing any more animals into the house," which is completely fair. So yeah, essentially I'm waiting to get more animals and especially the cat until things are absolutely secure. And I have, so what I mean by absolutely secure is I mean like moved in to my subsidized housing, which I'm on the list for, and I have no idea when it's going to come up. Last time we called them, which was probably 6, 7 months ago at this point, they were saying, like, there are a lot of emergency situations that come up with people that have it worse than me, like, if they're about to be homeless or their parents are kicking them out, which my mom wouldn't do, or, like, if they're in an abusive situation. Obviously, like, those people are in a worse situation than me, like, I feel lucky that I'm allowed to stay here, and my mom hasn't made any move that she's going to kick me out, like, she's made it really clear that I can stay here until I get subsidized housing, which we're hoping that doesn't take another 2 years, but, we're gonna have to see it because it's gonna take as long as it takes, and ultimately, it's not up to me, if they have my name on a list somewhere and then it's going to come up when it comes up, and I've been on the list since 2017, so almost 10 years now, and they said it would take about 7 or 8 years. I was hoping to be moved out by now, but, like, it is what it is, um, and so essentially, it just is what it is. My mom and I are settled, neither of us are particularly happy about the situation, and it's definitely complicated having to plan my YouTube recordings. So this is what my YouTube channel is basically going to be like from here on out. But yeah, essentially, when I get subsidized housing, I'm going to get the cat, and before then, I am going to just not. And I mean, if the if I happen to not be moved out and we end up, like, going to court and suing my landlord and, like, winning the case, and I get money when I'm able to move out, me and my mom have already kind of talked about what that would look like because we were talking about when I was going to win the mediation, and when we thought we may win the mediation, and we were talking about, like, what me moving out was going to actually look like, because if I do end up moving out, there's a good chance I could be back here. So we already talked through, like, the possibility of me getting a cat and decided ultimately that that was not a good choice if I end up in a situation where I very well might be back here because we just don't know. We just don't have that information, like, when you think about it, we just don't have that information. So if it does end up that we end up going to court first and winning against the landlord and like winning the sort of money where I can afford to move out and pay for an apartment for however long, we pretty much talked about that there would be some give and take. So essentially, I would be getting a crested gecko. And the other thing I talked about that I'm not willing to compromise on is if I'm living alone and no matter if there's a chance I'm going to be moving back in or not, and I happen to see them selling a female G. rosea, because that was my very first tarantula, and I bought it as a baby and it never made it to adulthood. And then I think it was back in 2023 I got completely scammed by the guy who was selling the G rosé. I don't know if you guys remember that. I got completely scammed by that guy, and he took like $250, and I was able to get it back, thankfully, like through the bank. But I had to figure that out, and it was absolutely ridiculous. And I totally called him out for scamming and everything. And like, basically, my point is, if I see them selling a female G rosé at an expo or something, I'm literally just going to grab it. Like, I'm gonna take it because I'm not gonna miss out on that opportunity. They very rarely sell a female G rosé, and it sucks because they did have one at the expo last October, which was the last time that I went to an expo with my mom. They had one in October, and I didn't get it because obviously I was living here and I couldn't get it. Mm. So it ended up being just very unfortunate. Like, it ended up being where I couldn't, like, it ended up being just where I couldn't get the animal even though it was there and, it was my mom knows it's important to me, and so the one that I'm definitely going to buy because of if I end up moving out because of the lawsuit, I will buy a crested gecko, and then if I see a female Giroze anywhere, I will buy that. But that's basically gonna be it. Like, I'm not going to buy any pets beyond that, and I am going to discuss this with my mom, like, one more time if it does end up that we get to the trial before I end up getting subsidized housing and we, like, do the whole thing and I actually move out due to the trial money rather than getting subsidized housing, then I will go over that with my mom again and be like, "Okay, here are the pets I wanna get, here's what we're gonna do, here's what I'm willing to compromise on and what I'm not willing to compromise on pet-wise," because like, I've been thinking about this crested gecko for a couple years, and even if I wanted to get one right now, I'm gonna be honest, I really couldn't. Like, I don't have the money for that. The only way I'm gonna have the money for that is if we win the trial, so it'll either happen after I get subsidized housing or before I get subsidized housing, and then I'll move into my own place and end up getting some of the pets that I want, but not the cat yet if it does end up being from the trial money and not because of subsidized housing. The only way I'm gonna get a cat is subsidized housing. Like, I have I've accepted that because ultimately it's going to take the same amount of time no matter if we go to the trial first or not. Like, if we didn't have the trial coming up, I would have to wait as long as it takes until subsidized housing. So ultimately, I'm going to be waiting the same amount of time for the cat. The only difference is if we do the trial first and I'm able to move out, that I'll be getting a crested gecko and then possibly another tarantula. Like, I'm willing to compromise on everything else and, like, work it out with my mom and stuff. I'm willing to do just that. And honestly, my reptile list of the reptiles that I want has gone down significantly since I actually started keeping my snake because it was really long before. And you see these people online with like 50 to 100 reptiles, and you're like, how do they handle all that? And it's like, well, I mean, they're handling it. So obviously, any average person can handle that. Actually, no. Average people can't usually handle that. Like, usually they're the minority. Like, they take so much time and effort to take care of their animals. Like, they basically spend the whole day taking care of their animals, which I don't want to do. I have work things, I have obligations, I have a YouTube channel, I have other hobbies that I want to explore. I don't want to spend the whole day taking care of my animals. Like, I'm not that kind of person that would spend the whole day taking care of their pets. I like if I get a cat, yeah, if I get a cat, I'm definitely willing to give up the time to, like, brush them every day and play with them and do the various things that they need, but it's not the kind of thing where I want a lot of pets to the point where I'm spending like 12 hours a day taking care of them because that's just absolutely ridiculous. And with my mental health stuff, especially, I feel like it's way harder for me to take, for me to just go off and take care of a ton of pets. So I think the number of reptiles that I would feel comfortable keeping at any one time is probably 2 to 3 and probably no more than that. Like, I'd probably go as high as 3 and then, like, no more than that. And as for tarantulas, that's a whole different story. Basically, all you need to do is give them water and feed them once every couple weeks or every once a week, depending on how big or small they are. Like, but so for tarantulas, it's different. Like I could have like 20 of them and not feel like it's too much. But yeah, as for like reptiles, because they require such specialized care, and especially when you look at different species, like taking care of my snake is completely different from taking care of a crested gecko. Because yes, they're both reptiles, but one of them is a snake and one of them is a crested gecko, and the care requirements are like completely different. Like, for example, my snake only needs to be fed like every couple weeks. Like, I feed him every 2 weeks right now. If he doesn't eat, I feed him a week. If he refuses to eat, I'll feed him again a week later. So, like, yeah, so if he refuses to eat, I'll feed him again a week later, but if he eats the mouse, I feed him every 2 weeks. So that's about how often I do it. Like he doesn't need to get fed a whole lot. It's not really a big issue for me. Like but if you get a crested gecko, you have to feed them every day and you have to miss them. And also, the thing about snakes is they can't be handled all that often. You can't handle them when they're in shedding, and you can't handle them for a couple days after they've eaten. But if I get a crested gecko, you don't need to worry about it, like puking up its food or whatever. It doesn't do that. So you can pretty much handle the crested gecko like every single day if you wanted to. It's not exactly recommended to handle it every single day, like maybe 4 or 5 days a week. So like I'm still doing a ton of research and gathering things. I mean, I've had my snake for like 2 years and I'm still doing research and learning new stuff and figuring things out, like figuring out how figuring out that he escapes his cage. So I put the books on top to stop him from escaping the cage, like that kind of thing. So yeah, it's like he doesn't it's just a completely different experience taking care of different reptiles and different species. Um, hang on. Oof, I hate it when I have to run off to the bathroom because I'm gonna have diarrhea. It wasn't exactly diarrhea, but anyway. I'm gonna try and read some Reddit stories and record for like the next couple hours. So maybe about an hour and a half to 2 hours. I want this to be at least a 3 hour video, so I'm gonna try and do this. Um, but yeah, basically what I was saying before is it's really hard because I live with my mom to plan my stuff. Like I have to plan all of it for when she's not home and like YouTube reading because like I said I can't be in my room right now currently. Hopefully that'll change after the weekend, but for now I just don't want to be on my bed that creaks whenever I make a tiny movement. It's distracting and annoying and I just don't want to be in that situation, but you know, I have to plan my cooking for when she's not home and showers and what was the other thing? Watching TV, like I have to plan it all for when she's not here. I can watch TV on my computer, but if I want to watch it if I want to watch it on the TV, I have to like plan for it. So I can't wait until she goes away because I can do whatever I want whenever I want for an entire month. So that's going to be really fun. Anyway, let's just do some Reddit stuff because I want to. So, I'm gonna start with this one from Best of Redditor Updates. Am I the asshole for humiliating my ex's new girlfriend in front of our friend group? Um, this one is marked as concluded, originally posted to r/am I the asshole. Original post at May 22nd, 2026. Posting from my inactive account because I have some friends lurking in my main one. I, a 22 female, broke up with my boyfriend, 24 male, about 8 months ago. We decided to mutually call it quits and parted it in pretty good terms, which is good because we just so happen to share a friend group. After a rough patch, I decided to start taking a bit more care of myself, eating better, going to the gym, going to therapy. The shift was pretty evident. Oh, I forgot to say the trigger warning for this is slut shaming. Anyway, the shift was pretty evident both in my attitude and in the way I look. And in the way I look. My friends said I looked much happier and healthier, and I began gaining confidence little by little. Now I am a huge nerd. I play D&D weekly. I have thousands of hours in Stellaris, and most relevant to the story, I like to cosplay as a hobby. Most of my old cosplay involved characters that don't show their face or body too much, like Hornet from Hollow Knight, Mono from Little Nightmares, etc. But since I've been feeling more confident, I decided that for the big con in my city, I'd like to try something different. A friend convinced me of going as Viper and Chamber from Valorant, so for the past 6 months, we've been pouring most of our free time into the cosplays. 3 weeks ago, I sent a picture of me wearing the cosplay to the group chat, asking for feedback for the final details. My ex immediately DM'd me asking me to please not wear that cosplay to the con because it might make his new girlfriend uncomfortable. I asked what about it would make her uncomfortable, but he refused to elaborate. I knew he was dating someone new. I knew he was dating someone new, but I didn't know she was coming with us to the con. I tried to explain to him this was the work of months, and I couldn't just throw it all away just because a girl I'd never met felt uncomfortable about it. In the end, I wore it to the con. Good, you shouldn't have to shrink yourself for other people. And it was a huge success. I tried to keep my distance from the larger chunk of our group because my ex and his new girl were with them, but we did spend a good part of the day with them. Throughout the whole thing, the new girl kept making snide comments at me and laughing whenever I got asked to pose for pictures. Everyone looked uncomfortable, but nobody said anything. After leaving the con to have dinner, though, another friend asks the new girl if she wouldn't like to try cosplay as well. Her answer was, "Why would I need more attention from guys? I already have a boyfriend. I'm not a slut." I snapped and told her to stop acting like a pick me bitch just because I got attention all day. She started to cry immediately. My ex steps in asking me to apologize. I tell him I'll, I tell him I'll only do it if she apologizes for the way she's been acting around me all day. More and more of our friends start to join the screaming match, and it gets so bad we end up getting kicked out of the restaurant. It's been 5 days, and my ex is threatening to leave the friend group if I don't apologize. I honestly wouldn't care if he did, but some of our friends are asking me to do so to stop him from leaving. Should I cave? Am I the asshole? Verdict, not the asshole. Relevant or top comments. Commenter 1. I mean, I googled these characters, and half of the image results were of them naked embracing. So I don't know how sexy you went with it, haha. But either way, not the asshole for dressing however you were comfortable. Felt good. Shrugging emoji. OP. And OOP says, LMAO, don't worry, that's a cinematic. We wore the regular battle suits. Commenter 2. What kind of campaign do you have going in D&D? Which is Dungeons and Dragons, for those who don't know. OP says, we're playing the Crooked Moon module from Avantris. My PC is a Tiefling Cleric, Order of the Harvest. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Commenter 3. I'll apologize after your girlfriend apologizes for implying that we, the people cosplaying, were sluts. Short, sweet, and to the point. Let's see his hypocrite ass respond to that. I'd also tell your friend group that it's your stance. It's the most fair for everyone involved. Commenter 4, are they really your friends if they stand there and let some stranger call you a slut? Reevaluate those friendships. Commenter 5, not the asshole. So it was perfectly okay for her to bully you all day, but the second you clap back, which anyone would do after being called a slut, she's suddenly the victim and you have to apologize? No, she shouldn't give if she can't take. She started it. It's not your fault that she's so ridiculously insecure that she has to tear you down to feel better about herself. It's not your fault she's insecure that she has to tear you down to feel better about herself. It's not your fault she's immature. Update May 27th, 2026. 5 days later. Am I the asshole for humiliating my ex's new girlfriend in front of our friend group? Update. Wow, I didn't expect this post to blow up as much as it did. Thank you for all your support. Thank you all for your support, understanding, and kind comments. First of all, I want to apologize if the redaction in the original post wasn't the best. Redaction? English is not my first language, and I kind of wrote it in the heat of the moment. Second of all, my ex left the friend group and took his new girl with him. Good riddance. After a final attempt at making me apologize, he left the chat through a long paragraph of text and a block to every single person involved. The two ex-friends who asked me to apologize to him followed suit. I'm not surprised in the slightest, since they've been his friends longer than they have been mine. I will admit I'm a bit heartbroken about it, but I'll get over it. Of course, my ex DM'd me to call me an immature bitch one last time, then proceeded to block me as well. I'm honestly fine with that. Now for some clarifications on the original post. Yeah, I admit the screaming match was very immature and impolite of us. I don't want to make excuses, but after a whole day at the con, we were all tired, hungry, and very annoyed. Emotions were running high, and we behaved very immaturely. Thankfully, that particular place is used to dealing with con attendees and weren't too harsh on us. We did leave a big tip as an apology. To everyone asking if I'll post the cosplay, I am flattered, but will I believe I've become a bit more confident in my skills. I don't think I'm ready to blast it to thousands of people on the internet just yet. Maybe I'll upload something to my main account at some point, but definitely not here. Just in case anyone wants to know what the screaming match scene looked like. Only 5 people out of the 11 were wearing regular clothes, the others were all in cosplay. Viper, myself, Chamber, two Mikus, a Kava from Genshin, and a friend's OC. Again, thank you all, and sorry if you were expecting a more dramatic update. I'll reach out if anything more interesting happens, though I really doubt it. See ya. And OP did not leave any comments here in this update. So, yeah, that's it. Verily, I enjoy this epic tale of angry nerds outfitted in cosplay gear getting booted from a restaurant. Next table over has a bunch of stormtroopers angrily throwing things at each other and completely missing. I find your lack of faith in the 501st Legion disturbing. Ugh. Isn't the 501st the clone battalion, not the stormtroopers? The 501st Legion, outside of Star Wars lore, is the big costuming organization. If a group of stormtroopers are sitting at a table, saying they are the 501st Legion is a safe bet. But I checked, and while it started as the 501st Clone Battalion, they joined the Imperial Army, 501st Imperial Legion, the 501st Stormtrooper Legion, and nicknamed Vader's Fist, was an elite stormtrooper legion under the command of the Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Vader, during the Imperial era. And then someone sends a link to the Star Wars wiki about the 501st Legion, which we're not going to read because I barely know what they're talking about, even though I saw the Star Wars movies. And by the Star Wars movies, I mean like the original Star Wars movies. I haven't watched any of the movies. They keep pumping out like one a year because it's getting absolutely ridiculous at this point. I watched the original ones. That's basically all you need. I don't know. The rest just seem pointless, I guess. Um, anyway, it's pretty funny. But someone has a tagline that says, I received no such fudge. So I kind of want to look that up and read that story because it sounds interesting. I received uh, such fudge Reddit. Heh. Okay. Here we go. I Am I the asshole for asking a neighbor if she wanted to share food? And this is from r slash best of Reddit or updates, by the way. They're all from best of Reddit or updates. I'll let you guys know if I leave the subreddit. I do have other stuff saved. That might be a different video though, depending on how this goes today. Okay, so anyway, this is the repost. I am not the OP. Again, I'm not sure if this counts as an update, but I love when people accept their asshole title and learn. Feel free to remove this post if it doesn't fit here. So, it starts with the original. I'm a 31-year-old single guy who lives alone in an apartment complex. I've lived there for 6 years. My neighbor across the hall, a woman around my age or a little younger, I actually don't know her first name, but I'll call her Katie, lives across the hall from me diagonally and has for about 2 years. We exchange hellos but aren't friendly, which is how it is with most of my neighbors. So I don't know how to cook, but and due to losing one of my part-time gigs, I don't have as much money for takeout anymore. I'm getting really sick of eating cheap fast food or boxed mac and cheese. I'm gaining weight and I never feel great. This is where Katie comes in. I can always smell her cooking in the hall and it always smells amazing. I know it isn't the other person at our end of our hall because it's a single old man. I've even complimented it a few times, so I got the idea that I'd offer to give her some money each week to cook a little extra and bring it over to me, or I can pick it up from her at night. She's cooking anyway, and then I'd have varied, presumably delicious food. Okay, interesting. I asked her the next time I saw her, and she looked surprised and said she couldn't because she was too busy, which didn't make sense because she cooks almost every day, but okay. The next time I saw her a few days later, I asked her if she was sure and upped the amount I was offering, and she said she was sure and that it was rude to ask me, and that she isn't a housekeeper for hire, and I should get a housekeeper if that's what I want. She also called me a stranger, even though we have talked in the halls before. I mean, you're basically a stranger. You don't even know her first name, man. You don't even know her name. Uh, Even though if someone was going to mention me in a story on Reddit, especially a story like this, I'd prefer it if they used a fake first name anyway, even if they knew my first name. Like, I'd prefer it if they would use a fake name, which most people do in these stories. Anyway, overall, she made me feel like a big jerk and really embarrassed for even asking her, and a little mad because she was acting like I was being creepy. I wasn't, trust me, she isn't my type. Whoa there. I think asking her to split cooking wasn't completely outlandish since she cooks every day anyway, and it wouldn't be hard to make a little more. So mind the asshole. Edit. People keep assuming I'm sexist because I didn't think it was the old man who lives on our hall cooking. It's not an assumption for me. He and I lived across from each other for 6 years. The cooking smells didn't start until she moved in, and I've talked to her about how good her cooking smells before. Edit again. Okay, it is abundantly clear that I was the asshole and asking her was inappropriate, and as much as I hate to admit it, creepy. My instinct is to apologize to her, but since my instinct was to ask her in the first place, I'll do the opposite and stay out of her hair. Thanks. Update from comment posted in r/am I the asshole. Okay, I gotta see this comment. The guy who wanted his neighbor to make food for him. Okay, so the the question in r/am I the asshole is which post do you most wish we'd gotten an update on? And someone said the guy who wanted his neighbor to make food for him. It wasn't that long ago, but I'd love to know if OP has started cooking for himself. Edit, OP responded under my comment with an update. And someone Info, what the fuck is the funniest comment of all time. That happened. Okay, I knew when I saw this thread with my real account that I would be mentioned. That thread was a real wake-up call for me about what a weirdo I was being. I ended up apologizing to my neighbor, whose name I now know, but he didn't share the name, so that's probably a good thing. And telling her I didn't realize how inappropriate my question was. She accepted the apology, and we still nod and smile in the hallway when we see each other. I will say that I talked to my old man neighbor yesterday. Um, and he told me that she left him a tray of fudge over the weekend for the holidays, and I received no such fudge. So I know there is lingering weirdness from my ask, and I totally understand it and do not feel that I deserve fudge. So thanks again for everyone pointing out how weird and entitled I was acting. It did help, even the mean comments, because seeing the strong reactions people what I did made me realize what I did made me realize there was no wiggle room for me not to be an asshole. Okay, I actually have to read the comments on this because there are no like usually they insert some comments into the story. There are no comments in the story. I have to see. Okay, so the very first comment when I went to this post is a long one that says, honestly, OP, thank you. So many people in this sub are just struggling for self-awareness, wading through uncharted territory, or trying to figure out how to navigate a complex situation with many moving parts and lasting social repercussions. Sometimes it's hard to know what to say, how to reach them, and especially how to reduce the situation down to a single three-letter acronym. But you, OP, are a 100 bona fide asshole. Let's count the ways. Number one, you're clearly making her extremely uncomfortable. You've caused her to feel like she has to walk on eggshells when leaving and entering her own home, because a strange man down the hall keeps insisting that she cook for him. What the fuck? Hell, she might even feel like you're monitoring her movement in and out of the apartment in order to ambush her about cooking for you, which will obviously creep her the fuck out and make her feel uncomfortable in her own home. And two, why on earth would you think that you're entitled to this person's cooking? Even if she were your spouse, this would be a problem. And you don't even know her. How did you hear her say no and decide to keep pressing the issue? She's calling you a stranger because you are a stranger, and she's telling you no because no. And 3, I know it isn't the other person at the end of our hall because it's a single old man. Damn, dude, fuck off with that nonsense. You are a jerk, you were being creepy, and you should be way more embarrassed than you are. Stop harassing your neighbor, learn to cook, and leave her the fuck alone. Christ, OP, she said no. Like, it's not even that hard to cook. Like, these days, there is the internet. You can just look up simple instructions online. Like, I've learned a few recipes to feed myself with minimal help online. I mean, I got like help to learn how to cook chicken and like various other things, and then the rest I just figured out by myself because it's not that hard to make pasta and mix it together with like cheese and sauce and meat, which is most of what I do these days. Like that's how I feed myself. Every like every like 3 or 4 days I make pasta and I mix in whatever protein I have, usually chicken or ground beef, and then I add sauce and cheese, and that's basically it. It's really easy to do. Like once you figure it out and once you've done it a few times and like learn to do it, because like it was way easier than I thought it would be to learn how to cook. And I learned that when I was in my, like, late teens, early 20s because actually some of it came from New Path because when I was in New Path, they had us at least helping to cook the meals because we were all teenagers, like, the program I was in was made for teenagers with mental health problems. That was the entire point. So, they had us helping out with the food or, like, learning how to cook because they wanted to teach us basic life skills. That was one of the things they wanted to help us do, so that when we went out into the world, we didn't have to like figure it out, which I still didn't get everything I needed, and I figured my own stuff out, but they taught me how to cook stuff. They taught me they t- they taught me how to do some stuff myself. It like yeah, they really helped me out. I absolutely love that he is offended that she called him a stranger. He doesn't know her first name. You're the asshole, buddy. Leave this poor woman alone. I want to find this comment that says, where's the comment that says info, what the fuck? Hang on. I'm trying to like oh, also, can we talk about the she's not my type part? Like that excuses the behavior. Sorry, my behavior is creepy, sexist, entitled, and has made you feel uncomfortable in your own home. But you're not my type, so like I deserve you to spend your valuable time cooking for and feeding me. You're the asshole OP for asking her, and then doubly the asshole for continuing to harass her after she said no. And then edit, how fun, my first award. Thank you, kind stranger. By the way, this was posted years ago. This comment is literally from 6 years ago. So, oh yeah, I full blown rolled my eyes at the she's not my type part. Creepy men always love pointing that out when they get called out for their shit, as if to say, "Don't worry, sweetheart, you're not good enough for me to be creepy towards, and if you were, then you should be flattered. Shut the fuck up, dude, you're a fucking creep." Guy did this to me once at a party, went to sleep in a room right next to my then boyfriend on the ground. Didn't know everyone at the party but knew the hosts well. Woke up in the middle of the night to a man masturbating on the bed to my left. It was pitch black and no one had been in the bed when we went to sleep, so I had no clue who it was. Couldn't get my boyfriend to wake up, and when he finally does, he leaves to go to the bathroom, and the man quickly lays down so he goes unnoticed. Fuck no, I get up and follow my boyfriend to the bathroom to tell him what's going on. He comes back and turns the light on to find out it was one of our friend's boyfriends. The next day, I remember him pointing out that he wasn't even attracted to me, so therefore what he did wasn't wrong and I just wanted attention. Oh boy, my then boyfriend started to doubt the whole thing. That's absolutely disgusting and disturbing, and nobody should be masturbating in front of anybody. That's a private thing that you should do in your room. And wash your hands afterwards, by the way. So many guys jack off and don't wash their hands. Like, I I don't know. I've seen it mostly in like TV shows and movies where a guy jacks off and then doesn't wash his hands, and it's just weird to me. And like I'm talking about like cartoons, like in More or Big Mouth. Like that happens, and then guys don't wash their hands, and it's always so gross. Like, how are you gonna just do that and then go about your day? Now I do think that the guy was just drunk and not thinking, but how about just acknowledging how freaky it would be to wake up and see someone masturbating next to you? Say you were drunk and sorry that it happened, you didn't mean to scare me. But no, instead it's made into I'm not attractive enough to assault and I should just let it go. Great, yeah, that's terrible excuse. Um, alright, there's definitely some alright, there's a lot happening in these comments here, and I can't find the comment that I was looking for specifically. I was looking for the comment that said info what the fuck. I was really, really curious. You're clearly making her extremely uncomfortable. This is so true. She also called me a stranger, even though we have talked in the halls before. If you live across each other for 6 years and have never been inside the other person's apartment or done something with them privately, then you guys are strangers. Info, what the fuck? Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, info, what the fuck? I found the comment that I was looking for. It's okay. He said she's not his type. Yeah, she just wants her to be his mommy, not his girlfriend. Sheesh. Yeah, it's like so weird that I don't know, you're a grown adult asking another grown adult that clearly has her own life to cook for you, spend extra money on ingredients, spend extra time, like do extra work to feed you when you're a grown adult and you can just cook for yourself. If you were like a kid and your mom wasn't feeding you properly, that'd be different. I still think you shouldn't ask a stranger to cook for you. Like, you get your mom to cook for you or you get CPS involved. Like, that's when, if you're not getting fed, that's where you get CPS involved. Or if you're not getting fed proper meals, that's where you get CPS involved. Even though I doubt they're going to care that a kid's just being fed McDonald's every day. They have bigger shit to deal with, even though they don't deal with the bigger shit a lot of the time. Like am I realize how absolutely lucky me and my sister got at being placed in a really, really good home with like really nice people because holy shit, the the foster system is so fucked up. But like I think about that a lot and I talk to my mom about it sometimes and I'll mention like, oh, I used to do this with Glenda or Glenda used to do this and stuff. And like it's it was really nice to be in a home where I was actually cared about. I mean, they definitely cared about me more than my actual dad did, the one that gave birth to me that's biologically programmed to love me and didn't. So there's that. And I think I'm just gonna oh my god. Aw. There's a picture that just popped up on my homepage from r/foster animals. My cat with our foster kitten, which is so cute. Oh my god. Alright, I'm gonna get okay, there's another post that just popped up on my homepage. AITH. Okay, so it's like another one of those r/ am I the asshole subreddits. One of those ones that comes up and I don't know, there's like a million of them all about r/ am I the asshole. Now I have no idea where the other A went. Am I so it's just like am I the hole instead of am I the asshole? So it's r/AITH and then the actual title of the story is AITA. So am I the asshole for uninviting my boyfriend's best friend from our vacation after he made a comment about splitting costs? I've been sitting on this for a week because my boyfriend is still upset with me about it. And this was posted literally 22 hours ago. So yesterday, my boyfriend and I planned a trip together, just the two of us. About a month before, he asked if his best friend Marcus could join, since Marcus was going through a rough time and needed a break. I wasn't thrilled, but I agreed because I wanted to be supportive. When we started discussing costs, Marcus assumed we'd split everything 3 ways, including the accommodation I had already booked and partially paid for on my own card before he was even invited. I pointed that out and said he'd need to cover his share of the room going forward, but the initial deposit was already split between me and my boyfriend. Marcus got annoyed and made a comment that I was being petty about money, and this is why couples should not invite outsiders if they are going to make them feel like a burden. My boyfriend laughed it off. Um, I told Marcus calmly that if he felt like a burden, maybe it wasn't the right trip for him. He took that as me uninviting him and told my boyfriend I kicked him out. Now my boyfriend is saying I was too harsh and that Marcus was already having a hard time. I did not explicitly uninvite him, but I'm not going to chase him either. My boyfriend thinks I owe Marcus an apology. I don't think I do. Am I the asshole? Marcus is right. He invited himself on a couple's vacation, so he probably shouldn't come. Why does he even want to tag along when you'll be fucking your boyfriend loudly and enjoying your holiday anyway? It's weird, and I don't mean to be crass, but maybe making Marcus feel a little bit of discomfort about the idea is a good thing. I mean, is your partner more concerned with upsetting you or upsetting his boyfriend Marcus? And if Marcus is pulling this bullshit now, just imagine how awkward it will be when he doesn't want to pay his share when you're already away on the trip. Romantic dinner with your man? Oh, Marcus is going through it. Can he tag along? Oh, and now Marcus forgot his wallet, or Marcus doesn't have any money to pay for his share of dinner, but that's cool. You'll pick up the tab because Marcus is going through it. I'm giving you the hot tip right now. If your boyfriend doesn't choose you right now, Marcus won't be the only one going through it. And then OP responds, the dinner scenario you described is exactly what I was already low key dreading and didn't want to admit to myself. And the last line, yeah, saving that. Okay. Oh man, that's a lot. Okay. All right. I gotta try and figure. All right. There's more stuff. I really want to get into this. All right, I'm gonna try and get into other posts that aren't just best of Reddit updates. Um, yeah, I got a ton of best of Reddit update posts. Oh, I want to read this one. This is best of Reddit updates. I know I said I wanted to move on to other stuff, but we're gonna do this one first. I can't travel because my cat is sick and my boss and coworkers are unhappy. External. I don't know why this is marked as external or what that means. It just is. Anyway, originally posted to ask a manager, trigger warning, death of a beloved pet. Aw, oh no, the cat dies? Boo. Okay, original post September 17th, 2024, so almost 2 years ago. I joined my employer earlier this year as the only fully remote worker. At my first on site, the only other coworkers in my department resigned. Instead of being the junior member of a small remote team as I expected, I was suddenly the team. The CEO told me that day that he want me to travel to the home office once a month, and I was still so shocked I gave a non-committal answer like, well, if it's for something important. During the interviews, we had only discussed some travel. I took possession of my childhood cat, age 16, at the beginning of June from my aging parents, so I assume the cat is 16. He was healthy, but by mid-June, he showed symptoms that last week we found out is severe and chronic pancreatitis. Oh man. His treatment plan includes once a week injections, 2 to 3 times a week fluids, twice daily pills and ointments, and a lot of hand feeding all day, every day. Almost all of these are a two-person job. Bless my fiance. He has a chance of full recovery, but could also pass anytime. Well, obviously, you want to be there for him while he's sick, and also in case he passes, and like you said, it's a two-person job, so you can't just have some random person come in and take care of your cat, or at least you don't want to. And also, having that much care for the cat is kind of ridiculous and also sad. I would want to be there if my cat was going through that kind of stuff. Like, I would just be like, oh, well, you know, I need to take care of my cat right now. The adjustment to remote work with my boss has been rough already, with limited communication from either side. My bad. I ducked out of a July event for the first emergency appointment and an event tomorrow. Due to his new treatment plan, the org lost no money. Or organization organ. I was trying to figure out what ORG was short for in this case. The organization lost no money on plane tickets or hotels. I made one conference in August, but things went poorly while I was away. This time my boss expressed displeasure and told me to find a way to attend and if at all possible. And heck, take the cat with you. I don't feel I can stick all of this care on my fiance, even if either of us could do it independently. I don't think you should be sticking a cat that's sick like this in a car or on a plane to go to wherever your boss needs you to go. Like, I don't think that you should be taking the cat to places with you. Like, you should not be sticking your fiance with all the care, and you also shouldn't be putting your cat on, like, to go across the country. You shouldn't be taking your cat to go wherever you need to go in this case. Like, putting a really sick cat like that in a carrier and having it's already stressful for cats to travel like that. Like, cats do not like traveling, most of them anyway, from what I know, Like, they don't like traveling, and it would stress them out, obviously. It stresses me out as a human, so I can only imagine how much it would stress a cat out when they don't have the same coping strategies that I do, and you can't explain it to them that we have to go on this thing because it's a really important work trip. Like, they don't understand like we do. We can't communicate that to them. Anyway, I had a meeting today to finalize a large project. A coworker was early and started by saying he was disappointed that I wouldn't be at the event tomorrow, that he didn't see a pet as a valid excuse and didn't believe me. He wasn't a pet person, and in the army this would be called a personal problem. I was ruder than I should have been, but I was taken aback and said I could always ask the vet to send him a note, and that if my boss felt the same way as him, the boss is free to talk to me about it. Oh well, this isn't the army, and the fact that you see this as a personal problem doesn't change the fact that this is my cat and I love them, and I'm not leaving them alone at this juncture. That's what I would say. Anyway, my coworker said it in a semi-joking tone and seemed to get more serious when I expressed my regret about missing the event and explained the treatments. Ugh. But he should not have known about the cat unless he's been talking to my boss. He has no standing to reprimand me, and I felt disrespected and gossiped about. My boss came in and said that he was disappointed I wasn't calling in on my way to the airport, then jumped in. I also made clear later in the call that I wouldn't be committing to travel until the cat resolves his illness or passes. How do I address this with my boss while giving my pet the best shot I can? Did I just take a joke too harshly? Is a pet's illness a legitimate family issue to miss travel for? What do I do from here? They can't see me working every day and want to bridge the gap through regular travel, and I can see why they thought I was on board, but I felt pressured into that existing agreement. I feel disrespected and distrusted, and I think my travel schedule is being gossiped about and potentially damaging my relationship with other coworkers. If it's a performance conversation, I'm happy to have one, but with my boss, not my coworkers. Okay. Update June 12th, 2025, 9 months later. Wow, okay. I didn't get fired and I didn't quit. About a week after I wrote in to ask a manager, I took Allison and Commodore's tough love suggestions and initiated a conversation with my boss in which I acknowledged that I hadn't been handling my pet and travel situation well, including the exchange with my coworker, and outlined how I'd be making changes. He was understanding, pleasantly surprised by my directness, and propose things he could do that could help my experience as a remote worker aside from travel. Some commenters suggested my problems could stem from performance, so without getting into details, I made it a challenge to up my game. Come December, I had my annual performance review and I got a healthy raise without asking for one. We've settled into a less frequent but longer duration travel schedule that my boss seems happy with, more like one 3 to 5 day trip per quarter to the home office rather than once a month. I also have other business travel that isn't to the home office, so I'm going to be traveling about once a month this summer anyway. Unfortunately, my cat's quality of life continued to decline despite treatment, indicating perhaps undetected colon cancer on top of the pancreatitis, and we made the difficult decision to euthanize in January. Sometimes that's just the best way to go. It sucks, but it's the best way to go. I mean, our dog didn't just die, we euthanized him because he had cancer and he was getting worse and worse and he wasn't getting better. And at the time, he had already beaten cancer once, like many years before. He had a tumor. I noticed it when he started like peeing all over the floor. And it was really weird because he doesn't pee. He usually didn't pee on the floor. He peed outside. He was really good about peeing outside and only peeing if he was let out in the backyard or taken on a walk. So I started bringing it up to my mom, and she said it was probably nothing, but I got really pushy about it because I was like, no, it's really weird. You need to look into this. And eventually she did. And there was a tumor pressing on his bladder, which explains all the bathroom issues, which he got the tumor removed. I don't know if he ever fully recovered from the bathroom issues because there were still issues with him going on the floor that were never fully resolved. And I can't tell if that's just because of bladder damage from the tumor pressing down on it for so long, because like the whole time I was being pushy, it took like months for my mom to actually do anything about it, and I kept bringing it up like every single week. I would bring it up to her and I would get really pushy about it, and like I just felt that I had to get pushy about it. She wasn't listening to me and something was wrong, And then, like, many years later, the cancer came back, and this time it wasn't getting better, and to the point where literally the night before, he was having really bad bloody diarrhea and throwing up and stuff, and it was bad, and anyway, the next day we had him euthanized because we'd already made the appointment, like, a couple weeks ago. Like, I just remember sitting up with my mom the night before we had him euthanized and crying, and we woke up at, like, 2 a.m. when we heard him, like, having all sorts of problems and having the diarrhea and stuff, and anyway, we just ended up throwing out his bed because it just wasn't salvageable, unfortunately, at that point just of what happened to it because what happened to it when on his last day on Earth, and, like, everything he'd been through, it was really unfortunate and sad, and I hate that that happened the way it did. Like, I hate took that cancer took him because he was 15 years old and he likely would have lived for a few more years at least if he'd been given the chance, if he wasn't euthanized, if cancer hadn't completely taken over. Anyway, treatment became less stressful over time, and I'm glad we gave my cat a few more good months. He even would purr and bump my hands in anticipation of the fluid injections, which really lifted his spirits. Some commenters urged me to let my fiance help me, and I'm so grateful to him for how willing he was to help. He did every single injection for the remainder of my cat's life because I struggled with it emotionally. I miss my cat all the time, but haven't adopted another because I don't think I could handle it right now if another pet had health troubles. I have had a few therapy sessions that were helpful in this regard. I don't blame you for wanting another animal. Like, some people, it's just too much. Some people, they want to adopt another cat because they want to pass that love on to another animal that needs it and deserves it. Some people, they just can't handle it. Like, it's just because it's hard. It's hard to lose an animal that you care so much about. And, like, I haven't even had my snake that long. I've had him for like 2 years, but if anything happened to him, I'd be so upset. Like, I'd be so disappointed. I know he's not gonna be around forever, but hopefully he'll be here for a really, really long time to come. Like, I don't wanna think about the fact that he's not gonna be here someday, so I really try hard not to think about that. But yeah, for some people, you just can't handle it, and, you gotta decide what's best for you, if it's best and also what's best for animals, like, if it's best for the animal for you to get another animal, or if it's best for you to just not get another animal because it'd be too hard. Like, whatever is best for you and your lifestyle, you know, that's what you gotta do. You gotta do what's best for you and your lifestyle regarding that. So maybe you don't get another animal. Like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe you'll get another animal someday. Maybe you won't get another animal. Nothing there's absolutely nothing wrong with deciding that you can't get another cat because you just can't handle it. The timing meant that, although I was willing to make changes and knew how I'd do it, I actually didn't have to travel again for work until after my cat had passed. I did immediately take the advice to be less vocal about my personal life in the workplace, however. I think almost all of my coworkers don't know that my cat died because I haven't broadcasted it, though I've confided in one or two pet lovers who have been interested in talking about life stuff. It's in general been freeing to be treated as a professional that can be trusted to get my work done. Thank you to Allison and the Ask a Manager community. I still don't know who Allison is. This is a repost sub. I am not the OOP. And then one of the comments says, "At my first on-site, the only other coworkers in my department resigned. Instead of being the junior member of a small remote team, as I expected, I was suddenly the team. Yeah, that's never a good sign, is it? I volunteered for an organization once where a significant amount of its previous executive team left their posts. On its face, this wasn't too expected as this was a university club. Additionally, you generally needed to be an undergrad to hold a position there. What was really dire was that the departing team members never had handover procedures done, so none of the knowledge they held was ever passed on. Not that I blame any of them for leaving, but it also meant that all of that institutional memory was gone. It also meant that I had to start from zero when it came to figuring out what the hell to do for my position. Fun times. That paragraph had me expecting very different things. Yeah, her boss is decent, but her coworker seemed annoyed before, but pretty justified, but also very professional after she sorted her personal issue out. The old coworker leaving is pretty much coincidental. Yeah. Oh, sweet elderly baby cat. But it sounds like he was truly so deeply loved and he knew it, and that's what matters most. Aw, sweet babies. I met a few years back, I was looking at adoptable cats at the PetSmart because I just do that. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't the PetSmart where I currently live. It was in a different town, I think. We just happened to be there for some other reason, and there was a PetSmart right there. So I just went into the PetSmart to look at the cats, and I saw a cat that was that had feline AIDS. And he was like a real sweetie. He was a black cat, and he was really, really sweet. And I wished I could have taken him home with every fiber of my being because that would have been so cool. And I think last year I was at the shelter and I met this cat that had diabetes that needed like insulin injections a couple times a month. So it's more expensive to keep those kinds of cats, but it's definitely the kind of thing I would consider doing if I had the tools I needed, specifically money, because, extra care means extra money, but if I had the money, it's totally the kind of thing I'd consider doing. I'd love to take in a cat like that. I mean, I don't really care. I just want a cat. I want any cat. Oh, I just want a sweet baby to love me. Anyway, I think I have to take a break. I gotta make food and stuff, so I think I'll be back a little later. I might have to finish this video another day too. This is what I'm talking about. I can't just do whatever I want whenever I want, so I can't just finish it later. Like, I can't just come back at like 9 p.m. and come back and keep recording until I'm finished, which is what I would do if I was still living by myself. I'd be able to just come back and finish it later at night, like late at night when I wanted to, when I was ready. I'd be able to come back and finish it, but I can't. And that's the thing that bothers me so much. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, probably. Alright, it's not tomorrow, it's like later in the day, same day, still Wednesday. So it's 7 p.m. and my mom's not home yet, and I don't know if she's coming home. Like, she said she has dinner and she usually stays out pretty late. So I imagine she's, ordering food or whatever right now. And I don't even know, like, all I saw was that she had a meeting and then she was going to dinner. So I don't even know when she's going to be home. She's going to be home late, and I'm going to try and record more stories for like another hour, and then that's going to be it for the video. And I'm hoping to post it today because I'd really like to just go to the movies tomorrow and not have to worry about extra stuff. Like, I already cooked today, made food, I've got food in there. So I'd like to, just eat tomorrow and then read or whatever before I go to the movies, and then go to the movies, and then just come home and relax or whatever, and just like hang out and chill. Like, I don't want to worry about a bunch of extra stuff, including continuing to work on this video. But just know that the reasons why I don't do those super long videos anymore is because of what I was saying before about how I have to plan my days incredibly carefully. And like, if my mom texts me she's coming home, I have to shut down whatever I'm doing. Unless I'm watching TV or something, I usually will just turn off the TV when she gets in. But if I'm making a YouTube video or something, I have to actively shut that shit down before she gets home because I don't want it to become a whole thing, and I don't want her to walk in during it, like, because it's really distracting when she's, like, around or whatever. I don't know how to explain it. Like, even if I go into my room, it's still distracting having her out here. Maybe I'll go into my room to record more, like, after we fix my bed or I get a new bed frame or whatever. Right now, I'm trying to convince her to get me a metal bed frame, which I found some ones that are fairly cheap. We just need to talk it over right now. And we also need to go over a couple last minute things for my birthday. Like, I've been thinking about the kind of brownies I want because I said I wanted to make brownies on my birthday. And right now, what I want to do is I want to make these really nice. I was looking at already at like delicious brownie recipes online, and I want to take one of those recipes and basically like make up the batter, add chocolate chips, then split the batter in half and do like half and half. So I have a double layered brownie and put ganache in between the two layers because I think that would be amazing. Anyway, um, so, um, okay. Anyway, back to the stories, back to Best of Redditor updates. This is all I'm doing today. I decided, like, since I only have about an hour left, I've decided, and I also am really enjoying Best of Reddit updates lately. Like, I've literally done so many of these videos. This is probably my most read from subreddit that I've ever done videos on. And honestly, most of the other channels seem to be loving it too, like r slash. If I go to an r slash video, there's like a 60% chance it'll be a best of. For Oz's Vault, it's more like a 70 to 75% chance it'll be a best of. Like most Oz videos lately seem to be best of, and there will be something else like a couple times a week, but mostly it's best of. And since they upload videos every single day, you get a lot of like different subreddits and they just kind of jump around and stuff. It's really cool. Anyway. Ugh, ugh, ugh. Mm. Okay. Anyway, my fiance came out as polyamorous. Originally posted / off my chest. Original post was March 9th, 2026. Couple years ago, or a couple months ago. It's June now, so. And NAW is in brackets. I have no friggin' clue what that means. Anyway, anonymous for hopefully obvious reasons. I'm just here to shout into the void. Everything is falling apart and I have to scream to the universe. On Wednesday, my fiance came out as polyamorous. No, I'm not kidding. Yes, I know polyamorous is not a sexual orientation. He is dead serious, though. He didn't just say he's polyamorous, he's also into BDSM now. I was fucking in shock when he said all this. He swears he hasn't cheated on me, but he can't live in a monogamous relationship because it's not who I am. My wedding is in 4 months. We're supposed to get married on July 4th, and now this happened. Obviously, I will not be marrying him now. Don't care if it makes me uptight. I have no interest in polyamory or BDSM. I don't care about what other people do, but I'm not interested in any of it. But what the fuck? He's completely upended my world. I don't know why he still wants to get married. He thinks it will work out. When he said he was coming out, I thought he was going to tell me that he's gay. But instead, it was this. He thinks I'm uptight, but I want to scream. This is so confused. Okay, I don't know, man. So I don't know. I feel like when and I don't mean this as no disrespect to like polyamorous people. If you can make it work in a polyamorous relationship, good for you. If you are polyamorous and you want to say that to your fiance or the person that you love, good for you, you know. But honestly, I don't know. Most of the time when people say they're polyamorous, I just take it at and but they want to stay in the relationship, but they want to see other people. And usually I just take it as, okay, so you want to cheat, but you want my blessing, because that's basically what it feels like. Mhm. Yeah. You can absolutely like figure out that you're polyamorous later in life. I don't think it's a set thing. Like, I think it's like being asexual or aromantic or literally anything else, or gay or anything. You can figure it out later in life, but I don't know. There's a way to approach this. I don't yet know what it is if you're already in a relationship with someone. That's the thing. There's no good way to approach it if you're in a relationship with someone. And that's kind of the problem. It's a big problem. And like, if you're in a relationship with someone and you decide you're interested in polyamory and you've figured out this part of yourself, how do you even say that? Because, like, most of these stories, it's just like they want to cheat or they've already been cheating or they want polyamory for themselves but not for their partner as soon as their partner. There's been a million of those stories. Like, people who are interested, they say they want an open relationship the second the second it's not working out for them, but it's working out for their partner, they want to close the relationship again. Or the second their partner finds someone they're serious about that they want to see on the side, suddenly it's a problem and they want to close the relationship again. It's so weird. Like, there's no good way to bring up polyamory. There's no good way to ask for an open relationship with the person you're already with. I feel like if you want to do that, you should come into the relationship already expecting that. Like, you should come in the relationship knowing that you want an open relationship and both of you being okay with that. I feel like you shouldn't be able to ask to open the relationship later and like it's hard because obviously you don't want to shit on someone who just figured out that an open relationship is more their thing or just figured out that they're polyamorous. There's actually like a whole plot about this in Good Trouble, which I really, really love. There is the whole plot with one of the characters who figures out that she's polyamorous and like goes through this whole thing of discovering that she's polyamorous. And I do think it's something that you can come at as, but it's also really, really complicated if you're already in a relationship and you're like, I want to see other people or I want to open this thing up. How do you do that? There's no good way to do that. I don't know. It's so complicated and confusing and weird to me. I don't know. Like, being polyamorous is definitely a real thing. I'm actually if you watch BoJack, you know that that Hollyhock, one of the characters, Hollyhock, has a bunch of dads, like 8 of them, who are in a polyamorous gay relationship, which, like, obviously you can't get married to more than one person at a time, which that should probably change too. I just wanna say that, that should probably change, but, like like, I don't see how it's anybody's business how many people you wanna be with or how many people you wanna marry. Like, why does that matter any more than 2 gay people getting married? Because that was a problem at one point. That was a real problem at one point, but they kept fighting for it, and eventually they were able to get married, which I'm really happy about. Like, I remember years ago when it happened, and the React channel, which was still a big deal back then, but isn't a big deal these days, the React channel had all these kids reacting to, gay marriage becoming legal in all 50 states, and it was really, really cool. And the reactions were just so cute and wholesome. And I love that. I love that video. Like, I love that video. I love that gay marriage became legal in all 50 states. I was in my 20s when that happened, and it was really, really awesome, and I remember that being a really good day, like, because we won something, you know? We kept fighting, we got what we wanted. I'm not gay, I'm aromantic and asexual and non-binary. I'm still a part of the community, and I definitely consider gay people a part of my community as well, like, we're all part of the same community, whether you're gay or lesbian or non-binary or asexual or, like, anything, you're a part of the community. Pansexual, bisexual, anything, whatever you are, like, it's just that's why we have so many letters because 'cause we're all inclusive, that's the whole point. That's why we're constantly adding more letters, we're all inclusive. That's the entire point. We're an inclusive, loving community, and all we want is the same rights as everyone else. And it's ridiculous when people think that our rights are intruding on their rights, like, I saw this meme that I really like that's like equal rights for everyone does not mean less rights for you. It's not pie, which like, yeah, it's literally not pie. Get over it. I don't know. Also, nobody's invited to my um I was gonna say something about pie. I forget anyway. Oh yeah, I don't like pie. I like cake. So it's also not cake though. But anyway, like, I'm just saying, it's so complicated to, like, figure out that an open relationship is what you want when you're already in a serious relationship with someone else. I just I don't know. My whole point is gay marriage good, then we should be able to marry more than one person. Anyway, relevant comments. And the first commenter says, how long were you dating for? When did he get this enlightenment that he is poly and BDSM? You sure he has not cheated? How did he realize that? By reading books or watching porn? Dump him. And then OP says, almost 5 years. In July it would have been 5 years. I don't know how long he's felt this way. He came out on Wednesday. He swears he's never cheated on me, but I don't know what to believe because this is such a fucking mess. Like, you're allowed to declare that you're polyamorous or that you want an open relationship, but also the other person does not have to stay with you if you're going to declare that. The other person can be like, I don't want that. I don't want to be with you anymore. The other person has just as much right to the kind of relationship that they want as you do. And if you suddenly figure out that you want a polyamorous relationship and that's not a thing that they want, then if one person wants polyamorous, the other person wants monogamous, it's not going to work. Then you're just not compatible with each other. And then someone else says, "You're not uptight and good for you for being true to yourself. I'm sorry it took him so long to get comfortable enough to tell you. That's not your fault and better he's being honest now. It still sucks though. I just got engaged too, and I probably would be taking this way worse." Yeah, honestly. Yeah. Both of those things said Both of those things are true. I'm sorry it took him so long to get comfortable enough to tell you. Exactly. That's a good point. I don't know. The fact that he's telling you after 5 years just seems weird. And the fact that he's telling you when you're literally getting married in just a couple of months is also pretty weird. And it makes me think that he wanted to wait until you were like locked in. Like, I'm not saying that's the case in all cases, but in this case, it seems like he wanted to wait until you were like locked in and he thought you weren't going to leave him anymore, in which case you probably would have been better off waiting until marriage. But it's like you guys are so close to the wedding, and you probably planned everything and put deposits down, and now he's like, she can't get out of this now, so she's just gonna have to deal with me going around seeing other people or whatever. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying this is really like sus. This is sus. The timing of this is super weird. Oh, P responds to that. "I don't think I'm taking it well. I'm sad and I'm angry and I don't know what else. I feel destroyed. I've cried until I threw up. I want to rage and scream at him and at everything right now. I feel like I'm losing my mind because of how this came out of nowhere. My emotions are a mess." Update May 23rd, 2026. 2.5 months later, NAW again in brackets. I do not know what that means. Someone please enlighten me. I'm not gonna go and look it up right now. My update is that my relationship is over. Not surprised. Though based on what a 21 not a 29 female wrote in my first post, I'm sure that will come as a shock to no one. Except my ex-fiance. I have moved out and right now I'm living with my cousin until I can move into my new place in 2 weeks. My ex-fiance, a 31 male, was the only one who was shocked that I called off the wedding. He has been quite open about his newfound revelations. I didn't really care about anyone else's opinion about me calling off the wedding because there was no way I could stay after this. But at least everyone, including my ex-fiance's family and friends, understood why I broke up with him, and I have gotten lots of support. Speaking of that, I have turned off my chats on here because I received so many nasty chats from people who said I'm wrong for not liking polyamory and BDSM and that my ex-fiance is right, which is just so wrong to fucking do. Please don't harass people on these kinds of sites. Please don't send them mean. I know I'm talking into the void. I know this is fucking Reddit. People are assholes. People suck. Like, you would not believe how many nasty comments I got when I posted on a certain group in Facebook. Literally one post about my snake tank, about something that I did recently, which was putting books on the tank so he couldn't get out because he is tiny and extremely light and he wouldn't be able to push the books off the tank. And I made one fucking post about that, and everyone is judging my setup. And you can't even, from the picture I took, you could barely even see the inside of the tank, by the way. It was so fucking hard to see the inside of the tank, and people were saying your setup sucks and shit like that. Like, if it's wild, and like, if they were just nice about it, I probably would have been a lot nicer, but holy shit, these people were fucking brutal. Like, someone even said my snake would die from how my husband dream was. And I'm like, first of all, you can't tell anything from a picture. And second of all, like, he's lived for 2 years, and he's been perfectly fine. He's been shedding, he's been eating, he goes on the occasional hunger strike, but that's just what happens, and, you know and I assume they were talking and some people were saying the area is a mess, and, like, because I have, like, 20 bags of stuff all to do with my snake right underneath the fucking table that he lives on and exists on. Like, he has a space where he exists, and then I have everything basically right under that table where he lives because it all fits there, and I don't see the point in taking up extra space. And also, I don't really have any extra space, so I have to put it all under the table. And I tried to explain that to the person. I was like, I don't have any space to put the stuff, and I don't see the point in putting it elsewhere when I could just keep all the stuff that my snake needs together and close somewhere where he and I would both have access to it, so I could take better care of him. And the person just sent me a bunch of laughing, crying emojis. Like, what the fuck even is that? That's not even a fucking response. Anyway, it's just ridiculous how people can be so shitty on the internet. And saying someone is wrong for not liking polyamory, okay, it's he sprung this on her like only a couple months before they were getting married, and he brought this up suddenly, and she's supposed to just go along with it. And like, you're allowed to not be compatible in a relationship. Like, if one person I don't understand why it's so ridiculous to say, "Oh, this person wants to see other people. I don't want to see other people. I want to be monogamous. They want to be polyamorous. Therefore, this relationship is not compatible with each other." Somehow that's such a dick move for saying that. Somehow that's shitty for shutting that down and being like, "I don't want to be with that person." Like, it's not like she yelled at him that he was a terrible person because he wanted to be polyamorous and because he was, kinky or whatever. Like, she didn't like dress him down in front of everyone at the fucking wedding. And if she had done that and yelled at him and said all kinds of shit to him, yeah, she would be an asshole for doing that. Like, regardless of what he's telling her he's interested in, she would be an asshole for doing that in front of everyone. That's pretty shitty. That'd be shitty to do. But like, but like, you can't just be mad at someone for deciding the relationship isn't compatible because you want different things. Like, it's the same way with someone with if you're with a person for, I don't know, several years or something, and then they all of a sudden tell you you want kids, and like, you don't want kids. Like, that also means the relationship isn't compatible because one of you wants kids. And there are people online, I bet, who would yell at someone for just straight up not wanting kids because apparently that's a fucking crime. And why is not wanting your partner to be polyamorous or not wanting to be polyamorous yourself bad? Like, why is that such an issue? Like, I don't. It's such a big fucking deal to people who have never had to deal with this in their lives because they've just had mutual loving relationships their whole life, or they don't know how relationships work because they've just never been in one, which is probably the more accurate of the two. Like, they're probably virgins on the internet. It's so ridiculous to say shit like this. Like, people get so mad at people on the internet for literally anything. It's ridiculous. Anyway, um, I'm paraphrasing because the actual words and insults were disgusting, and I got tired of seeing all that in my chats. I don't care if not wanting to practice polyamory and BDSM makes me uptight or a prude or whatever. It absolutely does not. It just means you want different things and the relationship isn't compatible, and that's totally fine. My ex-fiance got so upset when I called off the wedding, and he said I'm too boring anyways. I don't care what other people do, but I would rather stay single than submit to someone or be in a relationship with multiple people. This definitely sounds like one of those I just want to fool around, but I want you blessing, or I've already been cheating situations. The fact that he said you were too boring when you called off the wedding just shows what kind of person he is. Our wedding was supposed to be on July 4th, and I'm still mourning the loss of my relationship. Even though my ex-fiance doomed it as soon as he came out, that's my update. Yeah, whatever. I don't blame you one bit. Like, I absolutely don't blame you one bit. Your ex-fiance sounds like he sucks, and for real, by the way, your supposedly wedding, your almost wedding is only 9 days before my birthday. I'm celebrating on the 3rd, but that's only because my mom is leaving before my like actual birthday. I'm celebrating my actual legal birthday by myself. I have a lunch thing with my friend slash support worker simply because it's a Monday and we see each other on Monday anyway. So I actually am seeing someone for my birthday, which is really nice. I'm actually really, really excited about that. So I'm gonna get to have lunch with her. So that's gonna be really nice. We usually do a lunch thing on my birthday anyway. I mean, we've done it for the last 2 years. So I expected it to be doing it this year. And we're going to Jack Astor's again because I fucking love that place. Anyway, final comments. And then, so a commenter says, "Ugh, so good that you dodged the liar. It's not about preferences for monogamy or not. He wanted to have you being monogamous and him doing what he liked without consequences. You weren't boring or uptight slash prudish or any of that crap. You were honest and communicated what you were and weren't okay with from the beginning. And he didn't, then tried to force you into a relationship that you had never been okay with. I'm sorry he was so rubbish, and I hope you get the love you deserve." And then OP responds, "Thank you for your support. Just to clarify one thing, he did not want me being monogamous. After he came out, he kept pushing me to date other men. Tried to sign me up for a polyamorous dating thing and wanted us to go to polyamorous events as a couple. He did not want monogamy to have any part in our relationship. He said it was boring." Okay, yeah. I mean, okay, that I guess that sounds a little more like he wanted to do the polyamory thing, like it wasn't just some weird excuse to cheat or whatever. I'm still not sure about that though. And I don't like that he said you were boring after you called off the wedding. And like someone who actually wants polyamory, I feel like would be understanding when their partner who has always wanted monogamy and been clear on that, like, ended the relationship because they would be like, "I get it. You know, I told you this thing and we're just not compatible anymore. And I totally understand if this is what you want. And, I'm going to go do what I want and you can find a relationship with that you want with what you want, which is monogamy, and I'm gonna go find a relationship with polyamory, which is what I want, which is fine. Like I talked about the fact that they did this already in Good Trouble. But the way they handled it is really, really nice. Like they handled the relationships and the way everything worked out really respectfully, and I feel like they handled it really well the way everything was. Like talking about polyamory, figuring out uh, the relationship stuff, like, the way everything was gonna work and stuff like that. Anyway, and like, yeah. Um, and then OP says more on the messages she received. "Well, I have received a few comments of support from polyamorous people on my posts. They are vastly outnumbered by the nasty and insulting chats I received before I decided to turn off my chats. This is not to mention the insults I've received from all of my ex-fiance's new associates. So overall, there has not been much support from that community. I do appreciate the supportive comments I received, but they are not the majority. Quite the opposite. Edit. Not sure why I'm getting Reddit care messages for this comment, and I'm focusing on the support and encouragement I'm getting from family and friends, and from people outside of the polyamory and BDSM communities. I do understand that a few people from those communities have been nice and supportive, but given how terribly I've been treated, both online and in real life, I'm really not looking towards or focusing on anything from either of those communities." Yeah. Like, I wouldn't be with someone who wanted to be polyamorous because that's y just not the kind of relationship I wanted when I was, doing relationships and stuff. Or when I didn't know, before I figured out it was aromantic, I guess, is the best way to put it. But, yeah, to be quite honest, without getting into too much detail, I'm kind of a member of the BDSM community, and I absolutely think that no one should be forced to be with someone who's into that stuff, and no one should be forced into those things, especially because of the kind of stuff it entails. Like, I am so surprised that the BDSM community is coming down so hard, especially since our whole thing is consent. Like, consent is super important, and everything I've seen from the BDSM community or in the BDSM community always talks about how important consent is and safe words and stuff, and like you need that to be a good member of the community. So I'm surprised that she's been getting so much hate from the BDSM community because isn't it all about consent? So why should she be forced into like sexual stuff that she does not want? Does that not completely go against the community? And like I said, you guys can just simply Google the term BDSM. I'm really not going to get into that stuff because, it's pretty personal and, like more personal than the stuff I usually share. But I will say I'm a member of the BDSM community and consent is like a really important factor. So I can't understand why anyone would like try to say that she should stay in a relationship and that she's a prude if she doesn't do those things even though she's not interested in them because that violates the whole like consent thing. It violates the whole consent thing. I just don't get why that's the way it is. He thought OOP would he thought OOP would buy into the sunk cost fallacy or he wanted to break up and he thought this is the way. This is not to mention the insults I've received from all of my ex-fiance's new associates. Sounds like he made some new friends who convinced him it would be a good thing. How dare she not be like us? I know this is her side of the story where she's making herself look best, but it doesn't even seem like she's shitting on polygamy as a concept. I was thinking the same thing. It's just fundamentally incompatible with what she wants, and she made the mature choice to end the relationship. I don't get why people get so mad about it. So many people care about things that don't hurt or affect them in any way. I don't get it. Because they'll browbeat her into accepting cheating because this is what this is. He was wanting to cheat on her with her approval, someone else will browbeat their partner into accepting cheating, and such they will be rubbing each other's backs. Yeah, I agree with what this person said above. So many people care about things that don't hurt or affect them in any way, which is exactly what people say about the LGBTQ plus community. Happy Pride Month, by the way. It just hit Pride Month a few days ago, and happy Pride Month to all of you because holy crap, I've been ready for this for a year. And the Pride parades are all happening like the 12th and 13th, and my mom is going to be down there because she has a booth anyway. So I'm gonna go with her this year and like hang out and stuff. And oh my god, baby Riley is so cute. Well, she's a toddler now. She's like a year and a half old. She was born in December 2024. So she, no, December 2020. No, December 2024. Yeah, that makes more sense. December 2024. Yeah. Yeah, she was born December 2024. Anyway. Do 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 do. Mm, alright. I don't even know, man. I gotta find one that I haven't. Uh, oh, here's one. Okay, am I the jerk for wanting to cut off my friend after she accused my boyfriend of showing off by paying for my birthday dinner? And this is also from Best of Reddit updates, along with like everything else we've read today, except for I think one story. Um, and I know I would technically read a story from a different subreddit. I'm just gonna collectively label this all as best of Reddit updates. It's just so much easier that way. Like, I know I make the Reddit video series and then I label them appropriately. I'm just gonna label this one as best of Reddit updates. It makes everything so much fucking easier. And like every story except for one story that literally took up like 5 minutes of the video has been from best of Reddit updates. It just makes more sense to label it that way. So I'm just gonna do that. Okay, this one is marked as concluded, and am I the jerk for wanting to cut off my friend after he accused my boyfriend of showing off by paying for my birth? Whoa, by paying for my birthday dinner. This was originally posted to r/, am I the jerk, which is another one of those am I the asshole subreddits just with different words, just called something else or labeled as something else because there's like I said there's literally like 20 of them, like I said. They're all just different and like they're all, you know, th- they're all pretty much the same. Just I don't understand why there's a million of them. There are. Um anyway, original post is May 17th, 2026. Oh, yeah, and this is the throwaway account. It was my birthday, and I wanted to celebrate it only with the girls. I have a boyfriend, and we talked beforehand. I told him that if he felt comfortable, he could come and sit with us. However, he said that we would celebrate together, just the two of us later, and I should enjoy my time with the girls separately. I said, "Of course, babe, no questions, everything is fine." And so the day came. There were 5 of us in total, including me. We ordered mains, appetizers, cocktails, and had a great time. When we were already supposed to leave, my boyfriend walked into the restaurant by himself. He said hello to everyone and asked me if we were finished. I said, "Yes, babe, we are done. We're about to get ready now." He said, "Okay, I will go then and close the check and you guys get ready. I will help carry the gifts and flowers to the car." I said, "Okay," and he went to pay the bill to the administrator. My friends and I drank the last sips of our cocktails and started getting ready slowly. Just as we were leaving, my boyfriend came up to take the boxes. Suddenly, one of my girlfriends, Kira, said to him, "So, do you want to show off in front of us like this? Someone is a bit too cool." I didn't really understand this. I said, "Kira, let's step aside and talk. I didn't quite understand your question." My boyfriend apparently either didn't hear this or it just passed by him. He just took the boxes and carried them to the car. He didn't even turn around. When we stepped aside, I asked her what she meant. She said, "Listen, I have nothing against you or your young man. The fact that he closes the check on your birthday is basically normal. But why was it necessary to say this in front of all of us?" I told her I didn't think it could hurt anyone. I really didn't want to show off. Plus, they all know that my boyfriend closes checks for me in many places and gives me gifts. We have been together for 3.5 years. It all happens openly. I just want to say this guy is so sweet. He sounds like really, really sweet. Like, he wasn't even asked or anything. She wasn't even like, "Hey, can you can you not come to the birthday dinner, but also can you just take care of the check for us? That'd be great." As far as I know, she didn't say anything or ask him for this. It was just something that he came in and did. Um, why is she saying such things? She replied, "It's good that he didn't name the amount in front of us at least." I told her she understood everything wrong and it honestly wasn't like that. She then admitted that for her, it looked exactly like that since she is single and doesn't have a boyfriend like him. Okay, well, she's just jealous then, you know. Am I the jerk for wanting Oh, now I'm overthinking her words. It feels like she is just projecting her own loneliness and jealousy onto my relationship. Almost skipped an entire paragraph. I am honestly thinking about distancing myself and cutting back on our communication because her comment felt toxic and ruined my birthday mood. Am I the jerk for wanting to minimize contact with her over this? What should I do? Relevant comments. Someone says, "She said that because she's jealous that your boyfriend paid. Watch your back with Kira, not the jerk." OP replies, "You're right. I used to feel sorry for her because she's been single for so long and I know it's hard for her. But feeling lonely doesn't give her the right to ruin my birthday and insult my boyfriend." Someone else says, "I'm not surprised she's single." And then OP responds, "Honestly, she used to be such a nice, fun, and kind person to me, which is why I was always so surprised that she was single. But if she is truly filled with this much deep envy and bitterness, then I guess life is just showing her that you can't treat people this way." And then another commenter says, "She is just jealous and wants your boyfriend or is mad she can't get one just like him. I would definitely distance myself. My friends are never anything but happy for me, and I would never be anything but happy for them. So this is just weird type shit." And then OP responds, "Yeah, some of the other girls at the table were also single, but none of them said or did anything like that. They were just happy for me. I think I've just been putting up with her behavior because we've been friends for so long, and I always felt too much pity for her." And then an update the next day, May 18th, 26. Oh, May 18th, 2026. The next day, "Guys, hello everyone. First of all, I want to thank you for your support and for opening my eyes to this whole friendship. Thank you very much. I would like to share the news with you that we completely stopped talking with Kira. We had a phone call with her. She even saw the post that I wrote. But she also stood her ground, so there was nothing more to discuss. I said that we are ending our communication. Very strange feelings, to be honest, but everything happens the way it's supposed to happen. Thank you very much once again." Too long didn't read. Kira saw my post but still stood her ground on the phone call. I officially ended our friendship. Reddit proved that I am not the jerk here. Final comments. Someone says, "She should have just been grateful about how generous your boyfriend was for paying for all of your dinners when he didn't even attend the dinner himself." I know, right? But that's why I was saying he's such a nice guy. He didn't even come to the dinner and he just shows up and pays. She clearly just couldn't handle your jealousy anymore and had to snap at you. She clearly just couldn't handle her jealousy anymore and had to snap at you over it to make you feel the negative emotions she was harboring in your own heart. You don't need people like this in your life, OP. You did the right thing ending the friendship 100%. OP responds, honest OP responds, "Honey, I completely agree with you. If I had doubts before, now I am absolutely sure. It's honestly for the best that things turned out this way, and I'm glad this person left my life now rather than later, when an even worse situation could have happened. So it's a total win." Oh man, alright. Well, that one was shorter. I mean, it was shorter because I didn't give as much commentary on it. But, like, I didn't really have that much commentary, just that she was right to cut off the friendship. The friend was obviously jealous. I don't know that much about romantic relationships or friendships, considering I haven't really had either, and also I'm aromantic, but yeah, it seems as though it just seems like she's jealous. It just seems like she's jealous, so, who needs that energy in your life? I don't understand why she had to say that he so obviously wasn't showing off, he was just being a nice boyfriend. And who criticizes the guy who just paid for their dinner? Hasn't she ever heard the term, "Don't bite the hand that feeds you"? In this case, the hand literally fed her. Like, he paid for all your dinners. As far as I know, he wasn't even asked. He wasn't invited to the dinner. He just showed up and paid without being asked. And he paid for everyone's dinner, including yours. So, like, why say that about him? If I was the boyfriend, I would never pay her for one of her dinners again. Like, I wouldn't pay for her food. I would just be like, "Oh, well, I'm gonna pay for everybody except you because you're mean and I don't like the way you talk about me." I can't stand these OPs lording over us with their usually functional limbs, ability to breathe, ability to type, and their sentience. Who do they think they are? Kira is likely single because she can't help herself and says unhinged shit like this that drives normal people away. This made me laugh. I was born with one arm. Don't lord over me with your functional limbs. I have one functional leg and use a wheelchair to mobilize, and nothing sends me into a blind rage quite like people having the audacity to just be walking around in public. It's fucking rude. Edit, for legal reasons, this is a joke. I need contacts, and I am personally offended by all the people walking around seeing things clearly for free. I know. I have glasses. Isn't it so offensive when people just walk around and like look at things like without needing glasses? That's so offensive. Like, why can't you just all wear glasses to make me feel better, personally? And, I broke my arm a few years ago, and it was so fucking offensive seeing people with like two working arms walking around using them for stuff? Why couldn't you have all only used one arm like I had to? That is so rude. Oh my god, it's so ridiculous. It's just, I can't. Oh my god. So fucking dumb. Um, I'm gonna try and find another good. Um, I'm gonna try and find another. Oh my god, here's one of the open relationship posts I was talking about. Okay, so remember like 2 posts ago when I was talking about, um, remember when I was talking about um the whole polyamorous relationship thing and how I was saying like there are so many posts out there where people are mad because their partner will sleep with other people after they declared an open relationship. This is one of those posts. This is one of those exact fucking posts. And we're gonna read it like right now, and this might be the last one I think before the after this, I think I'm done for the day because I'd like to get in a little reading before my mom comes home. I'm gonna try and get in some reading before my mom comes home, but ultimately, I just want to like chill for a bit, like because after this, I will have been working for like 2 hours today, and I really need a break. And yeah, 2 hours really doesn't seem like that much when you think that hard about it, but obviously, like. It's different for everyone, and this is a lot for me, even though it's only been a couple hours. But yeah, after this, I will have at least 3 hours of material, and so you guys will be set. So I'm gonna be just uploading this either tonight or tomorrow. I will edit this tonight, I'll upload it tomorrow, and that'll be it for like, I don't know, a week or two. I won't need it. Anyway, and yeah, I'm sorry uploads have been slow, but that's just the way it's gonna be for I don't even know how long until I'm like, well, in July, I'll probably be uploading a little more, but other than that, uploads are simply going to be slow because I don't have the same flexibility that I used to when I lived in my own place. Like, I'm just gonna have to continue working around my mom's schedule, and the only thing I can say is possibly if we're able to fix my bed frame, I will start recording in my room again, but I'm also going to say don't count on that. I'm not 100% sure I'm gonna feel comfortable doing that. Like, it depends on what else is going on in my environment, I guess, because sometimes my mom's making noise in the living room that's kind of distracting. But yeah, so this is just going to be the way that it is, unfortunately, until I'm able to get back to having the flexibility that I had before. Also, it's probably gonna be even if I do decide to record in my room, I'm gonna have to, lug my laptop back and forth, and if I have to plug it in, I gotta be out here, I can't be bringing all that stuff to my room, so I'm if I do decide to record in my room, I'm gonna be planning it in such a way that my computer is all charged up if I decide I wanna record for a couple hours, so I go in my room, I'm gonna plan it in a way that my computer is already charged up when I decide to like go in when, mom's coming home. So I have to transfer into my room to record. Like, and like, this is all just speculative. I don't even know what's going to happen. Like, I'm just saying, if I get a new mattress, there is a good chance I might be able to record in my room. And like, but yeah, for the most part, and at least for now, you guys are just gonna have to deal with this is the way things are because there's really nothing like everything has to work around my mom's schedule these days. There's just nothing that can be done about that. And like, I just need to feel comfortable in whatever I'm doing at the time that I'm doing it so that I don't feel like I'm interfering with my mom's life and so that I don't interfere that she's and so I don't feel that she's interfering with my life. It's really hard to work around having another person in the house. I'm just gonna say that. But you know what? Better her than my sister. Anyway, so I, a 21 female, slept with two people after my boyfriend, a 23 male, opened our relationship, and now he wants to break up with me. Concluded. I am not OOP. OOP is another poster, originally posted r/relationship advice. Trigger warnings, accusations of infidelity, and gaslighting. Oh boy, two of my dad's favorite things. Well, technically one of his favorite things. I don't know if he ever accused anyone of infidelity. He gaslit my mom for sure, and me, and he gaslit basically everyone in his vicinity that happened to exist around him. So, one of my dad's favorite things. Okay, original post, May 12th, 2026. This is literally last month. A lot of these are last month, or they have an update last month. Like, a lot of these happened recently. Interesting. Anyway, sorry for the long post. I feel as though this is a very nuanced and unusual situation, and so I struggled to explain it briefly. So my boyfriend and I have been together throughout our times at university, coming up on 3 years now. He is my first relationship and my first body, whereas he has slept with a number of people before we got together. We have spoken before about wanting to have a future together and potentially kids once we both have a stable source of income. For the first time in years, we are spending a few months apart as he has a graduate job and I don't. I have been living in my family home and working in hospitality, so we haven't seen each other in a few weeks. Prior to this relation, Prior to this, our relationship was a little strained due to academic stress, and we were arguing for the first time ever. We also almost entirely stopped having sex for months, and the relationship felt like it was getting dry. I have a higher sex drive than he does anyway, and so it was mostly me who was finding this difficult. We spoke about it, and he suggested we opened up our relationship and allowed each other to see other people until we could move back in together when I found a job in the same city as him. He even implied that the idea of a threesome and watching me have sex with someone else would excite him. As much as this might seem strange to other people, I was quite excited he suggested this as I have never really had the opportunity to explore my sexuality. I was experiencing some anxiety about the fact that I have only ever been in a committed relationship, and I was worried I would one day regret not exploring more when I was younger. Despite this, I still love him a lot and know he is the one I eventually want to settle down with. Since we opened our relationship about a month ago, I have slept with two people, a girl and a boy. Ooh, so she's bi. I met them both on dating apps, and I was very open about the fact that I had a boyfriend and I just wanted to explore. Fair. That's totally fair. I think you should absolutely be open with any potential anyone you're gonna sleep with, anyone you have plans to sleep with. You should be very clear about them with your relationship status and stuff like that. I met them both on dating apps, blah, blah, blah. Both people were very accepting of this. I enjoyed the experiences a lot, and I ended up spending a few nights with this girl in her apartment. It was mostly just because I find living at home very frustrating after having the freedom of living with my friend's boyfriend throughout uni, and my parents still treat me like a child. Oof, I know how that goes. She and I only actually had sex a couple of times after drinking, and mostly when we would hang out, we would just play Minecraft or go to the pub. It was more like a friends with benefits situation. I was very open about the fact that I was staying at her place with my boyfriend, and she was totally okay with the fact I had a boyfriend. So anyway, my boyfriend has been planning to visit me this coming weekend, and I have been thinking about what he said about that he would like to have a threesome. I asked this girl about it, and she said she would be down, so I brought it up to my boyfriend, and his reaction totally shocked me. He went absolutely nuts after finding out I had had sex with this girl already and said he had no idea. He feels like he has been cheated on because I didn't explicitly tell him that I had sex with this girl, only that I had been staying at her place occasionally. I was sidelined. Dude, he wanted to open the relationship and have sex with other people. This is exactly what I was talking about. People open the relationship for themselves, not their partners. They basically what they're saying is, I want to cheat, like I want to sleep around, but I don't want you to sleep around. You have to wait for me. I'm gonna go sleep with other people, and I expect you to stay here and wait for me and not sleep with other people. Like, you and I are exclusive, but only you're exclusive. I can do basically whatever I want. Anyway, I assume that he had also been seeing other people, as there had been a few nights where he has not replied to me in the evening or asked to call like he usually does. However, that he is saying that when he spoke about opening up our relationship, he meant only for threesomes and not for us to explore on my own. This surprised me as I got a completely different impression from our initial conversation where we spoke about us both getting a chance to explore before we settled down and became adults. One of my friends from uni also sent me a screenshot of him on a dating app from a couple of weeks ago, which I told her I was completely fine with as we were both using them. He says now he only had the app to look for a third, not for him to do his own thing. Now he is saying that he isn't sure if he can look past me cheating on him and that he needs some time to think about whether or not he wants to be with me. I am completely devastated. I have deleted the apps from my phone and blocked the two people I slept with no explanation. Although I did want to explore, I've always been certain that he is the man for me. We get on so well, and he is dependable, caring, driven, everything I could ever want in a partner. My friends and family love him, and we also share most of the same friends, so our lives are intertwined. We have even decided on our kids' names and the street we want to live on one day. I have tried to explain to him that this was just a lack of communication and that I never wanted to hurt him. I have never even looked at another person until we agreed to open the relationship. But he is just saying this changes the way he thinks about me entirely. He has barely spoken to me since finding out and pretty much ignored my apologies. How do I earn his trust back? I feel bad for, like, the 2 people she slept with in this because she was really open about the way the relationship worked and how she had a boyfriend, but they were an open thing and, she was exploring stuff, and they were totally down, and they're not gonna understand why they got blocked because she didn't give them an explanation, and I'm not saying Okay, I am saying she should have. I'm saying she should have. She should have given them some kind of explanation. They're innocent in this, and it's really sad for them because they're just victims of, and OP's definitely a victim too, but they're also victims of what this boyfriend did, which was opening the relationship, but only wanting to do it for him, not actually wanting his, girlfriend to fool around. And then when he found out she fooled around, he tried to like go back. He tried to like back up and say, no, 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 no. I was talking about this, not this, even though he was on dating apps. And we all know, okay, we all know that he was definitely doing his own thing on those. Like, he was not just having dating apps for threesomes. He had them so he could like fool around and do his own thing. Whatever. Relevant and top comments. Commenter 1, classic. He wanted to open up the relationship because he thought he'd get to sleep with other people. Now he's mad and trying to punish you because you had successes on the apps and he didn't. You didn't misunderstand. He's lying because he played himself and wants to make it your fault. Exactly. Exactly. It's basically what I was saying like a minute ago. And then commenter 2 responds, for real, this happens so much it is practically a cliche. The man wants to open the relationship to get some side action. Inevitably, it is way easier for the partnered woman to find others, and the man gets pissed off about her success and wants to shut things down. OP, this isn't for you to fix. Your boyfriend needs to own his actions rather than punishing you for them. Until he does that, I wouldn't be trying to beg for his forgiveness. His behavior is juvenile and a red flag. The only comment for you is don't block the people you slept with without communicating. E- Exactly. Yeah, that's what I said too. It's not fair to them. That isn't cool. They deserve respect, and you shouldn't try and open a relationship if you are going to treat others poorly. You can simply say that you are taking a step back to focus on your primary relationship, won't be reaching out again, and prefer not to be contacted. But blocking without saying anything is not cool. Yeah, and they seem, cool, especially the girl, so I'm sure they would be respectful of how you want to work on this relationship instead of, continuing to do things with them. Like, it's just kind of on the side stuff. Like, this is more important. Like you said, you want to spend your life with this guy, even though I don't. I think this is going to end badly. But how cute, how hilarious would it be if like they broke up and OP ended up with the girl? Anyway, let's find out. Yeah. And then OOP responds to that after receiving a few comments saying to unblock the girl. I definitely will be. She was really great, and I think we could have a friendship if nothing else now. I just did it out of blind panic because I wanted to salvage my relationship. Commenter 3. I didn't quite understand your post. Does your boyfriend know you had sex with another guy, not a girl? If so, that's probably the real reason for his anger. I kinda had the same thought of that. But either way, it's his fault. He shouldn't have suggested an open relationship if it wasn't a sincere decision. And then OP responds, he knows about both now, as he began questioning me about it when I told him about the girl. Oh boy, here comes a downvoted commenter. This is gonna be interesting. Saying, in the eyes of most poly relationships, you have cheated. You said you made the new people aware of your boyfriend, but did he know you were actively going on dates and intending to sleep with people? Usually opening the relationship means having honest, open communication about your actions and intentions with other partners, not the ins and outs of the activities, just an understanding that something's brewing. I don't think you guys have the right communication and maturity for an open relationship. In terms of winning his trust back, it will take a lot of time and effort, but it's difficult for things to ever go back to how they were. That's what I'm hoping. Things won't go back to how they were. Maybe they'll break up. Maybe OP will find someone better, someone who won't string her along like this. Because he's the one who suggested it. Like commenter 3 said, he shouldn't have suggested an open relationship if it wasn't a sincere decision. Meaning that he wanted it not just for him, but for you too, for both of you. The whole point of having an open relationship is that you can both do what you want. You can both sleep with other people, not just one of you. And and saying that you were supposed to have honest, open communication. He wasn't being honest about his own actions. He wasn't being honest that he was on dating apps at at least. I mean, that's all we know. He could have been going on dates and shit too. We don't know 100% everything that happened or didn't happen. OP said OP responds, I didn't tell him at all about the guy until he asked, but I was under the impression that he knew I had slept with the girl. I guess it is poor communication on my behalf. That he didn't understand the nature of my relationship with her. The reason why I didn't tell him details is because I personally wouldn't be comfortable with knowing the ins and outs of what my boyfriend was doing with other people, and I stupidly assumed he felt the same. I just assumed that he was and assumed he knew I was, as that was what we had both agreed to do. All right, don't go blaming yourself here. Let's back up a minute. Like, don't be like, "Oh, yeah, I did make a mistake. I fucked up. I'm a bad person," stuff like that. No, your boyfriend is bullshitting you, and he's gaslighting you into believing and gaslighting was not one of the trigger warnings. Oh, never mind. Yes, it was. Gaslighting was one of the trigger warnings. But yes, he's gaslighting you. He's basically legitimately gaslighting you. Commenter 4, you didn't misunderstand, he's lying. Commenter 5, how do I earn his trust back? What are you talking about? How did you lose his trust? You agreed on an open relationship. Dump this insecure, hypocritical boy. Exactly. Okay, editor's note. OP added an update onto the original post. So, update May 13th, 2026. Same post, next day. Thank you everyone to the helpful comments. Thank you everyone for the helpful comments. I didn't expect this post to get so much attention, and I don't normally use Reddit, so I'm not sure if this is the correct way to do an update. So he finally called me after he finished work last night for us to talk. I apologized again for the miscommunication. Stop apologizing, man. Just stop it. No, it's not your fault. You didn't do anything. Okay, anyway, I apologized again for the miscommunication, which you shouldn't be doing, and said that I didn't feel we had a detailed enough conversation to establish boundaries and to define what an open relationship means to us. He agreed, but didn't apologize for his role in that. He then said that he was mostly hurt because I seem to have developed an emotional connection with this girl, which I can understand and I apologized for again. Enough. Then he asked me if I felt like I was happy in our relationship, and to my surprise, I told him he wasn't. He said he wasn't either, and so we decided to break up. Yes. I haven't even had a text from him this morning, and I haven't tried to reach out either. I do feel hurt and a bit lost, but after the last few days of crashing out, I also feel a huge sense of relief. As well as reading all the comments under this post, I also spoke to a couple of my friends and came to the conclusion that if the two of us were truly happy together, we wouldn't have felt the need to open our relationship in the first place. I am going to give it some time to heal, but now when I'm ready, I am free to be a young adult without the pressure of a big future looming over me. It has also opened up new job opportunities as I just don't have to look in the same city as him as we could move in together. That's cool. Go after those job opportunities then. I know a lot of people are calling him a piece of shit and a gaslighting liar, but I am still very fond of him, and so I don't care. I don't really care at the moment to argue with him and question his side of the story. Whether he changed the terms of our open relationship or did end up sleeping around and didn't want me to know. He probably just ended up sleeping around and didn't want you to know. As for the Minecraft girl, I sent her a text saying I will give her a call at some point soon to explain, and she said that was totally okay and to take my time. So hopefully I have at least made a friend and something good has come out of this. Thank you once again, everyone, for the help and support. Oh my god. Imagine her giving another update in like 6 months that's like, we're more than friends. She's my girlfriend. I don't know if that's actually what's gonna happen. I don't want to like, then I don't want to headcanon fake relationships that haven't even happened yet for like real people. I headcanon relationships for like my fictional characters in the books and shows that I watch and stuff like that. I don't like headcanoning real people's lives. I'm just gonna leave it as is for now. Maybe there will be an update later, and maybe there won't. We'll see. You know, in 6 months there might be a post that says I have a new girlfriend, and there might not be. And maybe they'll just remain friends. Anyway, it is 8:01 and I am exhausted, so we're just gonna go through a couple comments real quick. I know I'm getting old when I heard her say he was my first body. What the fuck? Is that normal to say? That whole body count business creeps the hell out of me, makes them sound like serial killers. I was thinking the exact same thing. Let's find a new comment thread. Doo doo doo. Yeah, I wonder what the body count is in Assistant to the Villain. I'm curious. I've never they don't show him actually killing people, they just say that people die during the book. It's very vague. So, doo doo doo. Oh my god, dude. Uh, no, it's a disgusting thing to say. The very fact that she calls it body tells me she's not ready. I have Pop Pop in the attic. Oh gosh. Literally could not focus on anything else. Totally agree. I legitimately made that Paris Hilton face of disgust when I read it. Jeez, okay. I feel as though this is a very nuanced and unusual situation. Not on Best of Reddit or updates, it isn't. Yeah, there's like 100 stories of this kind of thing out there, and they're gonna keep going, man. I'm gonna go. It's been oh my god. Okay. Well, I really one thing I wanna what I wanna do, I'm not buying books right now because my birthday is coming up in like a month, and I'm probably going to like in the last week of June or like the first week of July, I'm gonna be buying books for myself. I literally have extra money saved specifically so I can go to the bookstore and buy like new books because I don't really get to do that often. So I've been saving extra money this whole freaking time so I can go and buy books and gonna buy probably like 10 of them. And one thing I want to do is read the freaking off-campus series so I can watch the show. I don't want to watch the show until I've read the books. If a movie is coming out to theaters, I try and read the book before I watch the movie now. Honestly, with some of them, it's hard to do, like, if it's an entire series, like The Hunger Games that I haven't read yet, and now the new Hunger Games movie is coming out in November, and I don't even know if I'm gonna be finished it, and right now I'm trying to focus on Assistant to the Villain and also ACOTAR, because I know the new ACOTAR book is coming out in October, and I need to finish the series before that happens. I need it so bad. And also, I'm just really loving those series right now, and Assistant to the Villain because they have the new book coming out in August, and oh my god, I'm close. I'm like 5.5 hours or so away from finishing the current book that I'm on. And so I'm going to finish that one. And then I'm planning to blow through the next two in July. So in a month, I'm going to do the next two books. Um, but anyway, I'm gonna go. I love each and every one of you guys. Please don't forget to always be yourself, and I will, oh, you are valid. Don't forget to always be good to yourself and to others, and I will see all you guys in the next video. Happy Pride Month, and, my birthday is in a month, so I will see you guys in July when I'm recording more videos. I don't know if I'm gonna see you guys again this month. I'm gonna try and do maybe one more video this month, but, it could be a while before I'm actually pumping out content again, like, properly. And, also summer's coming up, and I don't know when my mom is going back to work, and August is gonna be very scarce for videos. I might try and upload 1 or 2 videos during that time, but for the most part, I'm really not going to be, and I'm going to be trying to blow through certain books and series, so I'm gonna be doing a lot of reading, and that's the thing I'm gonna be focusing the most on this summer, like, my reading. So I'm gonna be trying to do as much of that as possible and less of this. But I'm gonna go and goodbye, and I will see all you guys in the next video, which is gonna be, I don't know, couple weeks.